enter the realm of the VCR Podcast with your host, Vish.
They're just bastardizing our childhood and the classics.
Chris.
Nintendogs drove me. It's what makes me want to hurt people.
Radical.
People in general still bitch about everything. It still doesn't change.
Let the podcast begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VCR Podcast, the only podcast that predates itself in the moment the title is spoken. Adam, aka askcsradical, here with you guys. Chris and Vish are with me as well. It is another podcast day, and we will talk about all the crazy shit that's been going on, which is nothing, actually.
Nothing crazy, actually. I would say nothing crazy.
So apparently, after everything that's going
Cool
on,
little news, but
all of a sudden, just the gaming industry was just like, let's take the week off. And we're like, all right, I guess that's fine.
Yeah,
we have a podcast.
It's actually a boring week to be a nerd. It really is.
Well, I mean, it's a pandemic time, so, you know, having a lot of news is pretty much like a cherry on top at this point, what we'll take. So any day that we get something, we take it, and then if it doesn't happen, it's like, well, I mean, there is a pandemic, so I guess it's kind of to be expected.
Oh, I know. It's just like it's a time where no news is good news is not a thing. No news means it's not good.
I don't know. At this point, I'm pretty happy with quiet. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty happy with quiet these days.
And in all fairness, she is a really great character, and she helps you out a lot in Metal Gear.
Hey, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm getting there.
That was good.
Nah.
That was good. At first, I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about. Then I clued
Adam,
in
did you?
halfway.
I got. Did you plan that, or was that just like an accident?
I'd love to say I was intelligent enough to plan everything, but sometimes things just happen naturally, and you got to take them as they come.
Okay, I felt you were opening up for that. I'm like, oh, this is too easy. Adam is definitely like scripted this or something. He planned this, but no. Apparently, I caught on really well. So
well, you know, sometimes you got nothing from your Vish, and then sometimes you're a real diamond dog.
Oh.
All right, everybody check the bingo card. Vish has fucking put music into this thing again because he can't fucking help himself, so I'm just gonna get this dumb shit out of the way. It's the intro where we talk about all the stuff we've been doing.
I'm unleashing my inner 20-year-old white girl tonight.
So you're getting drunk on the podcast. Thank you, you unprofessional fucking swine.
Chris,
Also,
cheers.
cheers, yes. Also,
and Chris
bingo
has
card
Corona.
right now.
Yeah,
I
people
do.
can see in the camera. Thank you. Jesus Christ.
For those on the audio
Vishal
version.
is our personal narrator for the fucking podcast.
He's
Adam
like
said, very
Morgan Freeman,
angrily.
but not good.
Yeah, I know. He's not
As
even a
Adam
good
said,
one.
very angry. And with a lot of annoyance, he tries to remain professional and carry on the show.
Well, somebody has to fucking be.
While Chris enjoys the content.
All right,
that
we're
is
done.
going on.
We're done.
And then
I
We're
just
done.
need popcorn.
We're done. We're done. And I'm getting through
Wait,
your
can
dumb
I say
shit. as
something
quick-
about this real quick?
No,
As Chris interrupts,
wanna
he
say-
has something to really say important.
Fish. I'm a fucking kick
this-
you out of this group already if I have to.
That's Adam
When
says,
this
anger.
pandemic is over, Vishal, I'm paying you to follow Adam around and narrate his life.
So basically,
I'm
you're
just
paying
doing it.
him to get kicked in the nuts. Okay, fair enough.
Whoa, that's assault. You can't do that.
I mean, not if it's not on camera. Nobody
We're
knows.
just following behind you, talking about what you're
You're
doing.
not gonna. Are you really
In
gonna
his
tell the
sultry
cops?
voice.
You're probably gonna be laughing just as much. So don't kid yourself.
Yeah, I know. It's money well spent. It's so good all around.
To be entirely honest, like now that you mentioned, as I'm walking behind you narrating, I will have my hands cupping my boys just to make sure they're going to be okay. So yeah, Chris is going to be laughing, but I'm going to be okay.
That makes it.
'cause I
You
know
really
it's-
make it seem like you would know that it's coming. I'm not that fucking.
Oh
obvious.
no! My boys are going to be covered the entire time I'm behind
Oh,
you.
believe me, I will find the moment that you're not busy. That you're not busy, I should say. All I gotta do is get you into a "that's what she said" state, and you'll raise a hand to go point, and be like, "That's what she said," and I'll fucking take that opportunity and do it.
As long as one hand is up and one hand is down, I'm good.
Nah, I got good aim, bro. Anyways, I'm fucking done with this bullshit. Let's get to an actual intro. Jesus H fucking goddamn Christ.
Mad and blessings.
And I hate myself for doing this, but Vish, you go first because I think me and Chris are going to be long as fuck this week because we kind of need to be.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I'm almost done Schitt's Creek. I have about a season and 3 or 4 episodes left. I find after season 3, the show really gains its identity, and it's actually really great. It's something you honestly can have in the background just playing. It's really funny. I just was on the treadmill. No, I'm sorry, the exercise bike, and just going on it and just watching it while I'm biking. And it's a great show to watch if you're just chilling. It's the whole thing. It's like they say in marketing, they say the best content is the content that's most relatable. And because this is like a family-driven show, like family relationship-driven show and everything, it's a very relatable show. So I'm really enjoying Schitt's Creek. It's almost done. I'm just really like marathoning through it just because. Also this weekend, I was just like I said, I was just, as I was mentioning to Chris Adam prior to the show, I was just doing some equipment maintenance because as a creative professional who has photography as a big part of their career and as their career path, and as a creative professional, I had to make sure my equipment was pretty well maintained. So I had to look into emptying out some SD cards and some USB sticks, and also even a hard drive. So I know it's not very interesting, but the fact is,
he says as he talks about it for 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's something I've been taking off, and it was stuff that I had to just take care of because, frankly, we all need to do it once in a while. Just do some equipment maintenance, because at least if you get everything working fine, then you don't have to worry about your shit later on. And also, I finished The Queen's Gambit, one of the best series on Netflix. I was expecting a Bobby Fischer type of character from her. For those who don't know, Bobby Fischer is arguably the greatest chess player in history, but he was known to be a colossal asshole. Like, he was just an absolute arrogant piece of shit. So that's the type of character I was expecting from Queen's Gambit, but it was not. Like, this woman, like, it seems like that she had Asperger's. The way she was so obsessive and so dedicated to her game. Like any athlete would be, because considering...
Did she actually have Asperger's, though, in the show?
It was never, like, shown or, like, ever, like, even depicted, but the way the obsessive, like, dedication was to it is a pretty similar symptom or, like, trait of, like, Asperger's or some form of autism, because she was a very introverted person, and she was very, like, her life revolved around chess. Like, it wasn't like she had the addiction issues that they portrayed in the show as well, but everything about her life revolved around chess. Like, she was obsessed with it. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about the Asperger's.
That's why I would just say, as a pro tip, like, try to be careful when you say that, because then some people are going to turn that around on us and be like, oh, you just assume because of X, it must be a disorder. It's like, whoa, chill.
I get that, but there was also a lot of antisocial behavior there in the beginning. As the show went along, she became a lot more open and friendly and a lot more likable as a character and as a person.
Well, then I would say that basically is me growing up, and I don't have Asperger's. So it's just, like I said, just be a little bit careful when you label.
Fair enough.
You just got asked.
Ayo. But
I like burgers.
I also like ass and burgers. Great.
Okay, so I'm with two of you who have Asperger's. But it's fantastic. I think she's gonna win a lot of awards from the show, or at least definitely nominate. Like, I think this is gonna also like because back at like Chris with you and I back in our high school days. I don't know about you, Adam, because you're a few years younger than us. Like joining the chess is like, oh, what a fucking loser.
But that's okay. I joined the Reach Club where I was just a trivia nerd. It was the same thing.
Okay, but I
was in the high school band. I take the cake.
That too.
You're a trumpet or which instrument?
Tenor saxophone.
French horn, motherfucker. French fucking horn.
Yeah, you were.
Okay, at least you played a sexy instrument.
Me?
Like
tenor sax or the French horn?
Oh, tenor saxophone.
I was gonna say it wasn't mine.
No, it's not. And I heard the French horn is one of the hardest instruments to play. In general.
Yep.
Yeah, that one is tough. Good on you, man, to play that.
Yeah. So, but with Queen's Gambit, like it's really great. I think it's gonna actually normalize chess as a standard activity. And I think it's going to actually impact a growth in female chess players and not look at chess as like, what a fucking loser. It's going to be like, oh, chess. Like, I wonder what they're going to do next. Like, it kind of.
I don't know about that. It's hard to say. I mean, it might be like a small spike. I don't know if it's going to be like a long game.
Oh, I sincerely think it's going to be a big jump because the way it was depicted and the fact that she was a female character in basically what is considered a complete male nerd forte. It's I think it's going to actually change the view of it, and I think
it depends on what you mean by increase. Like if it means more people in tournaments, I don't know about that because again, this comes like maybe playing chess, like maybe chess on PC suddenly gets a little more interesting. But in terms of like widespread tournament like stuff, I doubt that just because it's not really like a money generating thing. Because if you got the brains to do chess, you'd probably be more likely to get into something like esports where you can where you have a lot more options to make money too, right? So
that actually, I think like as chess as a whole, not just like the board game, because unlike other games,
maybe
like
if Battle Chess comes back and they do esports tournaments with that,
that would be awesome.
Comes back. I played Battle Chess in March.
Yeah, I remember.
No, but
I did not work on my computer at all.
I really think like because with chess, you can play the exact same way you play it on IRL as you would in a video game.
Well, the only reason that I challenge it is because we have a flood of movies for like baseball every time that's like this big light, and the youth rates in baseball are constantly declining. And chess is not a young kid sport. Like kids have no attachment to chess.
We kids.
So getting them young is not going to be easy. So that's why I'm a little bit more suspicious. It might get people to play chess more, but I don't think it means we're going to have this massive spike in chess players in 10 years.
I will agree with you on with the kids part is that Queen's Gambit is M-rated. So a lot of kids are going to be sheltered
from
that.
I mean, you're generally going to see a lot more people that gravitate to chess as something to do casually and now that they're older. Like I don't see you getting that youth movement that means there's a sudden influx.
Okay. No, I get that.
Cafes and hipster bars in Toronto will have chessboards now on the table. That's what will happen.
Yeah, and when the pandemic's over. I think it'll actually grow a bigger fan base. But besides, like right now, besides Queen's Gambit and Schitt's Creek, there hasn't been much. I've been looking at the Black Friday flyers, and right now there's only 2 games that I'm looking at buying this week. Is Crash Team Racing for nostalgia purposes, and also Ghost of Tsushima. And if I just fold and just give in,
yeah, straight up. If you're not counting older games, Black Friday this year sucks here in Canada. It fucking sucks.
But if you look at
there is nothing worth pulling the trigger on.
We're not sponsored by them, but if you check Red Flag Deals, there's a Black Friday.
I'm on Reddit. Believe me, I know the deals.
I get that, but a lot of companies, like when Chris and I worked at Best Buy, the Boxing Day flyer, like it was kept secret from everybody except for any store managers.
So unless you're telling me that they're lying that the Final Fantasy VII Remake price is actually not going to be 50, but it's going to be 30, no, I think we got a pretty good sense of what's coming.
Yeah, everything out this year is still about 30% off, maybe 33.
The only thing, the only thing I'm looking at buying is Crash Team Racing because the game is just fun. Ghost of Tsushima because I really want to play that game. And the third one, if it is reasonable, and I mean $40 or less, which it probably won't be. Last of Us 2. Those are the only three things. I think that
one's 50 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I think is
40 at most. It definitely won't be under 40.
Yeah. So those are the only three things I'm looking at, and Miles Morales will not come on sale until at least April, I feel.
No.
At least April.
Oh, yeah.
I'll probably snipe it off of Chris when we eventually do our console share.
Fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, really, I've just been watching those two shows, and I've been looking at a lot of Black Friday deals. So you two fight over who's going next.
Okay, well, I'm the host, so I got control of that. Chris, you're up. Let's go.
All right. So what have I played? I beat
it's a wonderful
Hellblade
question.
Senua's Sacrifice. Not Madden. I beat Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. And that game fucked me up a bit. Holy shit. It's so creepy and fucking mind-bendingly, like, I don't know, the way they did that with the headphones and the artistic choices for these, like, because it's based in Viking times, I believe. So you actually see like Hela. So I believe like in Thor, like Hela is Thor's sister. Is that Hela? Is that the same one, I assume?
Does she catch Mjolnir? Like, boom.
Well, no, in this game, she's this giant, bald, creepy, godlike, scary person. Where, like, you're going along a bridge and you're trying to get into her domain. Because what it is Senua has, what has she got? What the heck is it called? It's like a psychosis type of thing that she's got.
I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but
I said it last week.
You feel like there's multiple voices in your head?
Yeah, she's got multiple voices in her head. Schizophrenia, there we go. Multiple voices in her head, stuff like that. And through the whole game, you hear the voices talking, but there was one voice you kept hearing all the time, and it turns out it's a guy that she was in love with, and he died. And she's carrying around his head with her the whole game because she's trying to get him back from the dead by going to basically the underworld to go get him. But it's all like in her head, basically, right? Really, really creepy shit and you can't tell, like, what is she actually seeing? What is she obviously making up in her head? And it's just like the schizophrenia and stuff like that. At one point, you're going across a bridge trying to get to the domain of Hela, and you hear a sound in the headphones, and you can tell it's like from ahead of you. And it's all dark, and it's raining like very heavily, and there's lightning, and you see a flash of lightning, and you see this giant, bald woman, like attractive woman, but like no hair, ripped clothing, like dragging one arm on the bridge and moving closer.
Is this game an RPG or is it like an action adventure?
It's like almost like a horror action sort of deal.
Yeah, and there's very
like psychological horror, not like gore horror.
Yeah. No, well, there is gore.
There is, but I mean, in the sense of it's still more, the horror aspect of it is more within the like the voices.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's very narrative. Like in the entire game, it keeps track of how many enemies you killed. When I finished it, I think there was 45. That's just, there's not many. But the battles are rough because you can actually lose the game and you lose forever. So Senua has this black stuff on her arm,
is it like
and going into her veins and taking over her body.
It's like old school game where you have to start again if you die, like from the beginning.
Yeah. So you can die multiple times, but every time you die, this black stuff goes further up your arm, and if it reaches your head, you've lost forever. So when I beat the game, I was like maybe here on her arm, and I died a bunch from some of the battles because they're very strategic, where it's like you need to dodge, attack from a certain angle, and do like
it's
all these
almost
like
kind of like a little
battles.
rock paper scissory.
Yeah, it's very I would say it's very rock paper scissory, especially depending on which enemy. Some has shields, some have just a sword and that kind of stuff. But the battles are very little of the game. There's a fair bit of puzzle solving that you have to do, and then it's just like walking, hearing the voices, seeing the visuals, and just enjoying the story. And yeah, so the one part that really messed me up was this Hella chick, because you see nothing, and then all of a sudden you see this towering being that's way bigger than you. Literally, like you're on a bridge, and there's so much room, and this thing is like putting down one arm and dragging itself closer to you. And you only see it whenever the lightning goes off. I actually shared my Xbox screenshot on Steam, so you can oh no, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to be doing it later today. So you guys can even go and have a look and see it. Fucking creepy. Like, it was just incredible the way that they did this shit, because I saw it, like the first lightning went off, and I was like, nope, oh my god, what the fuck? And like all the voices start arguing, and like, oh my god, run, no, don't run, fight. And like all these voices are happening as you see this thing, and I'm like, and I just started talking, and I added another fucking voice to her. Like, no, Senua, turn around, get the fuck out of there. Like, what the
just
added
watch,
a
man.
voice to her.
They're gonna do a Hellblade 2 on PS5 with the 3D audio and the haptic feedback, and it's gonna be fucking creepy.
Yeah, because Hellblade 2 is coming. I remember it in the Xbox in the summer, whatever their showcase was. I don't know when it's coming out for consoles and stuff. Probably next year or something. So yeah, they're just going to continue with what they're doing, and that game was intense. Like, it's not very long, but it's intense just with what's happening, and if you use headphones, just how you go through it. Anyways, I finished that game, and then I moved over to my PC. Ended up beating Halo 4, because Halo 4 was the final game released for the Master Chief Collection. I played through that whole thing. I freaking loved it. I know it was 343 Studios' like first take at Halo, and I actually thought they did a decent job. Like, it did feel different than the original trilogy. They kind of opened up the universe a bit more story-wise and all this other stuff. But like, I loved it. And the visuals, obviously, like the first game's Xbox One, and I get they upgraded it for, it was Xbox, the original Xbox, and I get that they upgraded it for Xbox One. But I mean, Halo 4 was the end of the 360 era, and it just like looks that much better. It was beautiful. But I beat it. I loved it. I loved the story so much that I then hopped over to my Xbox and installed Halo 5. Because you can't get that on PC, so I never had it, and it's included in Game Pass. And this is actually the first game I'm playing on my Xbox that I didn't actually already have on Steam, because I was like, I got to get smart. And just because the game looks good, I better double check if I already have it, because then why the hell am I playing on the Xbox if I've already paid for it and bought it on Steam? So I've been playing Halo 5. That game is blowing me away, like graphically and stuff like that. I know this game had a lot of people who didn't like it because you don't just play as the Master Chief. You only play... So far, I'm on Chapter 9, and I think I've only played as Master Chief twice. So only 2 levels were Master Chief, and the other ones are this character Locke. But the thing is that Locke is like going after Master Chief, looking for him. So it's kind of like the 2 stories are working together over one big story. So I know a lot of people probably at the time didn't like it.
Is it a game where there's one end game? It's not like there's multiple end games?
I think it's only got one ending.
One story.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just the one story, yeah. But it's just like the story's playing out from 2 people's perspectives. But you're both kind of going in the same direction, which is really cool. Plus, this is really when Halo clearly opened up with the actors. So it has Nathan Fillion's character, again, from Halo 3 ODST. And the actor, I don't know his name, but he's Luke Cage from Netflix.
Michael.
Yeah. So it's weird though. I don't know if it's his voice. It's definitely his likeness. Don't know if it's his voice, because it's not his normal voice. Because he was also in a show called The Good Wife, and I thought he was great in that. But he had the same voice as his Luke Cage voice. In this, I don't know if he's putting on like a Spartan voice.
Halo 5, right?
Pardon?
Halo 5, right?
Halo 5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's his voice or if he's just making his voice sound tougher because he's like a Spartan soldier and that kind of shit. But yeah, it's like...
What's the character's name?
Locke. L-O-C-K-E.
Okay, it's not Luke
Voice?
Cage.
It's not his voice, though.
No, it's not him in general.
What?
It's
like this.
Iki Amadi. It's not Luke Cage. In fact, I'm looking at his filmography on IMDb right now, and he is a video game voice actor. He's actually quite accomplished. And
it's not his voice, but does it mention the character model?
I'm not sure. It doesn't mention anything about that, but I'm just because I was kind of excited. I was like, oh shit, Luke Cage, and then it's like, oh, it's not Luke Cage.
Yeah, whatever. Nathan Fillion's in there. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Either way, the story of it is really, really, really good. I don't know, like I'm loving it. I started it last night, pretty late last night, actually. I think like 10 or 11 at night. And I'm already on chapter 9 of 15. Like I'm just kind of blowing through this because of how much I'm like loving it. It's so good. And it's good because I'm actually playing my Xbox. And for the first time, I'm like, oh, okay. I actually love the Xbox. Now that I'm playing games on here are specific to the actual Xbox, you know? Because I played through Hellblade, but I have it on Steam, so I could have just played it there. So it was like, why do I even have this Xbox? I don't know. Maybe it was a bad decision. Then I installed all these games I don't have, including Halo 5. And I'm like, never mind. This has a place in my life. I love it. But yeah, so Halo 5, really, really, really great. And then the last game I played, I finished Miles Morales. And not just finished.
Oh, you finished it?
Not just finished. Platinum.
The game's like 8-10 hours. It's not that hard to finish.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of like the whole like thing with Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. Okay, so what do you give Spider-Man? What do you give Miles Morales?
So the Miles Morales game, first of all, lengthwise, it actually took me about 15 hours, I think, to platinum.
Oh, that's not bad.
One of the platinums is to go through and beat it in New Game Plus. But the thing is, New Game Plus was amazing because that's when you get certain suits, and there are some powers and skills and gadgets and stuff that you actually can't unlock in the first playthrough. The first playthrough, you max out at level 20, and there's stuff you need for level 21, 22, 23. So you have to do New Game Plus. So it was actually pretty cool to go back because I got to go through the story again, which I really wanted to. Compared to Spider-Man, I actually liked Miles Morales more.
It seems that the charm is definitely there a lot more in Miles Morales. There's a lot more of a connection to it.
Yeah. I felt way more connected to Miles, which is weird because, I mean, if you think about it, me and Miles have very little in common. We don't, you know what I mean? Like, he's moved to Harlem and stuff, and like, you know, his culture and
you're in Burlington, which is basically
Thanks for doxing the guy.
It's fine. But yeah, so yeah, I'm obviously I don't have actually as much in common like life-wise as Miles, but him as a character, I love him. I liked him more than Peter Parker, to be honest. Like, it's just the things he went through and is going through, his character, his persona with other characters and everything, and his friends. Like, the character they've built he's amazing. And to be, and I can't believe I'm even going to say this, the ending for this game, I had a literal tear going down my face during the end.
Oh my god, because the fucking ending for Spider-Man destroyed me.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I had trouble sleeping after.
You
oh my god,
bitch.
this one is
fucking
good.
Like, listen, I can hold my own, but it's like okay, when does Spider-Man come out for PS4?
Like 2017, 2018?
2017?
Okay,
yeah.
It's like the one character in Spider-Man whose death would have fucking destroyed anybody. Like, how do you top that with Miles Morales? And I'm not
gonna tell you.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna tell you anything that happens. I'm just gonna say that it was emotional. It was just an emotional ending, and it got to me.
Spider-Cat's gonna die, guys.
Was it a tragic emotional, or was it like a...
I'm not going to tell you anything until you'll have to
Yeah,
play
Vish,
it.
for fuck's sake, stop being a dumbass and just fucking wait till you play the game. Holy shit.
You should play it.
You're gonna play it.
I will probably get it for PS4, yeah.
So I do have a complaint about the game. It's the only complaint I have about the game. And to be fair, I was going into this with this complaint. I
have so many horrible like cancel culture jokes I want to make right now.
Then don't make them.
Please don't make those.
No.
I'm not.
Yeah, so shut up and let him go.
Go ahead, dude.
Fuck.
My one complaint, and I went in because I'm like, I know that this has happened. I know this is in the game, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And it's the changing of Peter Parker, the model actor that they used. Nope, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't fucking do it. And there's one reason, and it's a good reason. It's not just, oh, they changed the thing I like. In the old character model they used for Peter, he looked like somebody who was in his late 20s or something. Like he looked older. This new character looks the same age as Miles. Like he looks like he's in high school. So when he's in scenes, it's like, Peter, like stop looking like you're in high school.
Yeah,
Look,
I know.
you're supposed to be like 10 years after that. You've been Spider-Man for 8 years now, blah, 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 blah. So that's my only complaint, which is not really much of a complaint, right?
I'm about to throw some shade back at that. Why is that a problem? Because Peter and Miles interact with each other in the previous game.
No. I'm saying that they look like now they're the same age, and Peter's supposed to be like 10 years older.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like
I
wouldn't have thought they were far off in age when I played the first game.
Well, in the first game, Peter's older. He's in his like mid-20s. Now Peter looks like he's 15.
So
like,
so it's that far
really
on.
young. Yeah, like he looks like he's 15, 16, 17. Not like he looks like, he's in his 20s. He looks like he's in high school. Because Miles is only 17 in this game. He's kind of like the Peter Parker original, where it's like kind of high school
obviously I haven't
student
played the game yet. Is there a significant time gap between the original and Miles Morales?
1 year.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm still not that put off by it, but I mean, I guess I'll know when I play it.
I get where
it's not hugely, especially in this game.
I get where Chris is going because it was like Peter was a mentor to Miles.
Well, no, but the only reason that I'm challenging it is because in the original game, they're already interacting. So like a time difference, unless like the change, like Chris is saying, is that drastic that it looks like he's legitimately de-aged like 10 years, then obviously that's different.
Yes. Yeah, that's my issue.
Well,
he looks like he's de-aged 10 years.
They remodeled the Peter Parker to look like Tom Holland. And Tom Holland, while he is a young adult, looks like a child.
Well, it's also the thing, too, that Spider-Man traditionally we look at as the high schooler, not some grizzled old guy. I know everybody thinks Spider-Verse now, but Peter Parker traditionally has always been young.
He just looks like he's... Yeah. It just looks like he's lost 10 years. Like he looks
they say
a lot younger than he was before.
Any comic character, they age 1 year every 5 years. So while
until we have to reboot it.
Yeah. While Spider-Man, the Peter Parker one came out in the 60s, that's only been like 5 decades. So I think Spider-Man started when he was 14. He would technically still be 19 at this point.
Yeah. Either way, it's I don't know if it'll be that big. Yeah. I'll obviously know when I get my hands on it. But...
No. As a complaint, this is like a 1 out of 10.
Well, I mean, like I'll probably look at it and be like, I don't see a problem.
Okay, so one last question before we move on to Adam. What would you give Spider-Man and what would you give Miles Morales out of 10?
So that's really hard because both games I wouldn't change anything about them, so I almost want to give them a perfect 10.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I think they're both the greatest games ever made. But
we operate under the fact that 10s aren't unattainable.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, I would give both of them a 10. Yes, Miles Morales is shorter, but it also is cheaper to buy the game than when the original Spider-Man came out. And I loved every minute of it. I platinumed the game. Like I went back to the New Game Plus, even parts where it was like get a 100 times combo. That's like one of the trophies in the game. I was like, I'm gonna try it. Like, I'm just gonna throw myself into a group of guys and see what happens. And I ended up getting like 130 on my first try. I was like, okay, never mind. It's not that hard. But the story, when I played it through twice, like I watched every cutscene. I didn't want to skip anything. I was so engrossed in the story I'd already just seen and wanted to do it again, that even though it's shorter than the other Spider-Man game, I mean, I got 15 hours out of it, and I could see myself in a few years going back and just wanting to goof around and play again. And if they come out with DLC, I'm getting it instantly. If there's some sort of instantly, I already want to go back, but I did everything.
There is a DLC for Spider-Man with Black Hat and also Silver Sable.
Yeah, so I have to imagine they're going to add stuff to this game as well. And I'll pick it up. I will have no problem going in there. I'll pay another $20, and I get it. It'll be expensive. I could have waited.
So
I'll throw myself in there again.
Just add a fourth game to my Black Friday list. So 4 times.
Welcome. But yeah, the game is flawless, and I did like it better than the other Spider-Man. But I give that one a 10. So therefore, this one's also just a 10. Like, there's no such thing as more. And it's also just story-wise, I like the character a bit more, Peter's character. Maybe it's just because I'm so used to Peter's character. They also didn't do much in the last Spider-Man because he's already been Spider-Man, so it's more like you just kind of jumped into it. This one, you're building on his personality. You're building on his.
It was kind of like the Spider-Verse experience.
Yeah. Oh, and the suits. There's so many good suits. So many. And I did get the cat suit. I did get the cat suit. I actually played the entire New Game Plus with that suit. So I did get to play through the whole game with a cat on my back. It was kind of weird in certain cutscenes. You could see all of a sudden they removed the backpack with the cat because it's one where Spider-Man's getting whipped across and like getting slammed into a wall.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
The cat there. Yeah, they like it's weird though. In the cutscene, the backpack is just gone. And then later on, all of a sudden it's back. It's like, I see why they did it, but there's no perfect workaround.
That's how good Spider-Cat is. So quick.
Yeah. He's so quick. He just jumps out.
I think even Adam would be like, is the fucking kitty okay? Is kitty okay?
If the cat got hurt in the game, I will literally say this game needs to be canceled. That is what cancel culture is actually for.
That is good.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You harm a cat or dog, go fuck yourselves.
Well, in The Last of Us Part 2 is in trouble.
Yeah,
I know. That's
not getting into it.
And Adam, for you, and it's not a spoiler, don't worry. So you know how the cat suit, when you do a special like a finisher move on somebody, that's when the cat come out and does attack. The only thing I'm going to tell you is that's not the only suit that does random extra shit when you do a finisher.
Oh, I figured that wasn't the only thing. If they show one like that, that means there's at least something else.
Yeah, other suits, but without any trailer or any hint. It doesn't mention it anywhere. You just go to do a finisher, and all of a sudden, the suit you're wearing, there's something extra that goes on during the finisher, and you're like, "What the fuck? Where'd that come from?" And it's cool. So
you get to
use your finisher.
You get to give Olivia Octavius a sharpshooter.
That joke only works if you don't stutter a bunch and that people know the reference, which I don't think either of us did because we didn't react. So moving on.
I'm assuming it's Spider-Verse. Yeah, that's all I got. So I played a lot of games though, and I loved them all.
Speaking of a lot of games, that's what I've done.
Yes.
Go on, Adam.
So starting off with the obvious one that I've been talking about for a while, Metal Gear Solid 5 officially done. Vish, I'm not even joking. You fucking do this one more time, I'm kicking you off. Let people fucking talk.
Okay.
So yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 finished with just over 100 hours. Probably is more like 90-95 because there is some downtime in there. But definitely went through all of it. It's the only Metal Gear Solid game I've ever finished, so isn't it ironic that it's the fucking longest one?
You've never finished any of them?
I've never really liked the old ones because, and this is the thing that I've noticed now that I've finished Metal Gear Solid 5, because I've played 1, 2, and 3. 4 is the only like modern one that I've never played. 1, 2, and 3 suffer from the same problems that a lot of stealth games do, is they're so enclosed that it's really hard to have any freedom. Whereas in Metal Gear Solid 5, I have so much fucking space to work with. So if I want to just go and snipe across the map, it's easy to do that. I played Metal Gear Solid 2, for example, which is the one I probably put the most time into before I stopped. It's so many corridors that it's really hard to enjoy because you have to be so perfect.
Metal Gear Solid 2, the game finished, and I had I was so confused.
I'm not talking about the story. I don't give a fuck about the story. Metal Gear Solid stories are always dumb and confusing and all over the place. That's just Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was a new level of dumb and confusing.
Yeah, I finished Metal Gear Solid 5. Believe me, it's not any better in terms of convolutedness. It's pretty confusing.
No, Metal Gear Solid 5 was okay.
I'm not arguing with you about the story. This is my time to talk.
Okay, sure.
But in terms of the game itself, like I guess what I really do like about it is that I can play it however I feel. Like there's no like I have to be in this really small corridor and pick my moment. Like I can just be an asshole and just fucking run around with a rocket launcher and just completely blow stuff to Kingdom Come if I wanted to. Which is what some of the missions ended up being like for me, because I'm just like, fuck this, nope, you're all dying, I don't give a shit. And then of course by the end of it, it's a matter of I kill everybody or I tranquilize everybody and then play the game of you get to live and you get to go to my base or you die. Like it's always that. In terms of the whole game,
did you sorry to interrupt. Did you
I know. No, you're not.
Did you use tranquilizer a lot, or did you more?
It was a mix of both. It depends on the map. Sometimes, like if I was going close range, I always had the tranquilizer pistol, but all my longer range weapons were always kill shots. Usually, I'd use quiet as my my long range tranquilizer.
Okay.
But
no, that's what I was wondering. Because I was more lethal. Chris was more of the trank guy for that game.
I tranked the world. I tranked everybody.
So chapter 1, I said on the show I finished. That one was okay. I didn't care too much. Like there was so much dialogue, and again, I'm not too familiar with the lore, so there's a lot thrown at you that I don't really know. The second chapter was a lot better. A lot better. There's a specific mission where you have to go into the quarantine zone in Mother Base that, quite frankly, stood out to me as one of the better missions I have played in quite some time in video games, period, in the way that it structures that mission to you.
Oh, that one was heavy.
I never ended up playing any of the extreme missions because you didn't have to, so why bother? I just did all the story stuff and the side missions.
I didn't.
There were a couple of complaints that I have. I had no idea that Paz was available to be found so early in the game, so I didn't find out till after the game was over that, you know, there was
what was
so Paz from Ground Zeroes and I guess Snake Eater is in Mother Base in the medical bay, but it doesn't really tell you. Like it's not like on the map is like a flashing thing for you to know. So if it says in the dialogue, I missed it. Because there's a lot of dialogue, not to mention all the cassette tapes that you're friggin' listening to, so there's a lot of information that you can miss. So it turns out that there's a spot in the medical bay that if you go to, Pause is there. And I'm like, oh, that would have been interesting content to go. There's a whole little story to that has to do with all the side missions where you got to find the wandering Mother Base soldiers. That's where you move that story along. And the end of it is pretty, like, I love how they structured, like, that little side story, which was really cool. But in terms of the whole game, I left it, like, I was already a little bit, like, put off by the end of Chapter 1, because I'm like, okay, well, now what? And Chapter 2, as much as I like a lot of it, the core of that story just doesn't really finish and comes off like they just stopped. Like, they just stopped writing. Like, he just put the pen, like, Kojima just put the pen down and walked away and forgot.
It was done.
Because by the time the game was done,
yeah.
I was like, "That's not all of that. Why is that the end? Like, there's so much more." And the final mission in the game is really stupid. It
replays the first mission.
It's literally the first mission with slightly altered cutscenes. That's literally it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that would have been cool if you didn't make me go through all the dumb shit, like crawling for 20 minutes before I can finally move.
Yeah, literally do it again.
So yeah, a few suspect decisions, but at the end of everything, like, I still really enjoyed it. There was still a lot to love. I finished it and I spent almost 100 hours into it, so I guess it's safe to say that I definitely enjoyed whatever time I put into it. But I mean, as someone who is not familiar with the Metal Gear series, I'm sitting there being like, okay, I get why some people like it, but I'm also not understanding why it's like this legendary thing if this is like Kojima at its finest, which is also why I'm still waiting for Death Stranding to be like free on PlayStation Plus, because I'm afraid to put any money into that and then start playing it and be like, wow, this is a waste. Because narratively, like, I enjoyed the gameplay of Metal Gear far more than I enjoyed the story. There were bits of the story that I liked, but for the most part, I was either lost or just like,
Like, for myself, I didn't really play a lot of Chapter 2 after a while because I couldn't unlock any more stories. I just, like, YouTubed everything. But I found the story mode in Chapter 1 was better than what it was in Chapter 2.
Well, the way that I looked at it is Chapter 1 was way too much, like, information thrown at you, whereas 2 at least had some actual moments that I can remember. I can't remember much of Chapter 1 already, and it's only been a couple of weeks since I finished that area. So the fact that I can't really remember any real moments apart from the really, Vish, that was it? That was the moment? That's the only other thing I can think of, whereas otherwise...
The way I look at it is that Chapter 1 was Skullface was trying to kill people that spoke English. So we'd all be dead.
Yeah, I understand that, but again, like, it wasn't enthralling. Like, it was just there. Like, it didn't feel like there was a reason for me to jump in. So that didn't really work.
The story feels second. Actually, throughout most of the game,
it feels more like a Metal Gear sandbox than it does a story.
Yeah.
Because I had far more fun just dicking around,
great gameplay, and
screwing with people than I did than actually going through the story.
100%.
I had way more fun on side 100%. Missions than I probably did in the stories. So,
well, that was the thing. Like with the side missions, a lot of them were very repetitive. It's like eliminate.
Yeah, but that's what made them fun because all you had to do was just you would go after them in different ways, rather than a story which forces you to one specific path and then rewards you with a really convoluted story that most people aren't going to really figure out.
Yeah, well, it's like what Chris said, like with that game, there's a lot of the story missions where it didn't need to be a story mission. Like the one time it's like, eliminate this warlord. You go from a distance.
It's filler too, right? It's like anime. It's a filler.
That's it. Yeah. It's like, but that I felt like that did not need to be a story mission.
Well, you don't have to consider it a story mission. It's just a numbered mission. Like there are story missions and then there are just like progress. Because not every mission in a JRPG is story. It's just meant to be there to fill some time.
8 of my chickens have escaped.
Also, this is a 5-year-old game. I can't ask about this. Watching that one cutscene on the base where Quiet was about to stab the guy through the throat and his tooth was chipping from the knife.
I mean, it was cool.
I was like,
that was cool.
Oh, fuck, that would hurt. Like, I felt that. I was like, oh, that hurts.
So, yeah.
That was an intense scene.
If I liked it. If I was to give it a rating, I'd probably give it, like, maybe a 7. Like, probably as good a 7 as I can give. It's just... I'm not leaving this game, like, being like, oh, man, I'm going to remember this game for a long time. I'm more just like, hey, I enjoyed my time with it as much as I could. Now, if Metal Gear 6 comes out, I mean, it's never going to fucking happen to this point, but if a Metal Gear 6 came out and they stuck to this formula, I'd probably try it. I'd probably try it because I had fun with this.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I'm not going to sit here being like, oh man, it's going to be the greatest thing. I'm just more like, I might have some fun with it.
Okay. So you would give this game a 7.9 out of 10? Then?
I said a 7.
Okay.
You deaf,
when
bro?
When I hear, okay, it's not that, Adam. When I hear the highest 7 I can give, I usually think 7.9.
No, I would just straight up say 7.9.
Okay.
It's like when I watched Wonder Woman and I said that's the best 7 out of 10 I've ever seen.
Okay. That's fine. When I hear 7 out of 10, I go with the points.
I don't use decimals because decimals are fucking stupid.
Okay.
I mean, you guys tell me this. Tell me this. What's the difference between a 7.7 and a 7.9?
0.2%.
It's a 77 and a 79. What is the 2 points? I can tell you what the difference between a 7 and an 8 is. I don't even know if I can tell you the difference between a 7 and a 7.5.
7.5. That I can.
It's so fucking arbitrary though. Like, just give it a 7 or an 8. It's either good or it's great. Like, there's no. It's not good 8. It's not good.
Okay, what I would say 7 is Iron Man 2. 7.5 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
That doesn't mean anything to me. That's not good or great.
That's you're asking what the difference is.
It's just how different people think.
I know, but
you're both right.
No, fuck that shit. I'm not backing down on that shit. Decimals are fucking wrong. But anyways,
the 0.5 is okay.
I'm gonna talk about fun things though. I'm gonna talk about Astro's Playroom because that was fucking fun.
Yeah.
That's the built-in game for the PS5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That was fucking fun. If you want to talk about a game that is more than worth your time and doesn't cost you a goddamn cent, well, you bought the console, but technically it doesn't cost you a goddamn cent.
Yeah. Minus the $500.
This game is fucking incredible and should have been longer. Like if this could have been a fully fledged game and it would have been amazing. Like this now, a lot of people have been saying the same thing and I agree with this. Astros needs to have its own series now. Like this is legit enough that it should have its own series. I know it technically does, but they more or less serve to just show off hardware. I'm talking like straight up having its own series that isn't just about showing off the consoles or showing off equipment. Because this can be the equivalent of like their Mario. Because this game is so good.
Is its own Crash Bandicoot for PlayStation.
No, it's much better than Crash. There's no frustration in Astros.
Yeah, true. I feel like this game, I was more interested in this game than Sackboy. Like Little Big Planet. And they're both very similar in the sense they're cute platformers. I almost feel like Astros should just be the platformer now.
They should have just done that. I think making Sackboy kind of made no sense because like Little Big Planet has always been a different thing. It's always been more of a creator tool. So they should have stuck to that. The fact that they just turned it into a basically let's be honest, Sackboy: A Big Adventure pretty much looks like a Super Mario 3D World ripoff. It looks like a reskin.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know how I feel about that, but I'm not going to go too in deep to that because I haven't played the game. So how would I know? But Astro's like, and I'm sure you probably felt the same way, Chris. Just even that loading screen where it has the controller slowly building up in your hand, that fucking threw me off. I almost shed it. Like I shed almost a happy tear of like old school gamer in me, just being like, this is the future. I legitimately had a moment where I'm like, this is the fucking future.
Was this the fact of like the controller like vibrating in different areas? So like. It
really just changes everything. It seems like such a little thing on the surface, but it really changes everything. I mean, the fact that there are games now like Deathloop, the Bethesda shooter that they're coming up with, the triggers will literally jam on you if your gun jams. Like stuff like that. That's going to suddenly make you so much more like feeling like you're actually within the game rather. Because imagine that with VR, and that's also a rumor, by the way, that they're working on a new VR set that's going to include haptic feedback. So you can only imagine having that veil over your face that tells you that even though you know it's a game, that it still kind of feels real, and you now in your hands you have that same feeling too. That immersiveness is just completely at its max before we get into like full on like VR like fucking holodeck level shit.
Yeah.
Like it was so unnerving.
Did you have
the first 5 minutes playing the game, my hands actually felt numb because they were so not used to that vibration because it was so consistent.
Yeah.
So there was a moment where I guess my hands weren't used to it, so it took them a second to kind of readjust because obviously it's 20 plus years of not feeling that.
In Metal Gear Solid 1, where you first faced Psycho Mantis, like that was the first time that the DualShock was actually used to really like impact the gameplay.
Sure, but even then, it's just a rumble. Like this is ones that actually like makes you feel like it's more than just just a shake. Like there's almost that sense of like something's alive in here. Like you're holding it, being like something's alive.
Yeah, there's something in there for sure. Little worker elves.
No, that's like
Sony.
Do you have a favorite? Sorry.
I don't even know how many like servos are actually like doing the vibration this time because, like with us growing up, like the PS1, the PS2, the PS3, they all had two like vibration servos, one in each hand. But now it's like there's like, I don't know how many are there.
Oh, but it was enough to make me go, holy fucking shit!
Technology.
Yeah, that's literally it.
All I know is that Xbox is going to look real dumb if they don't do this themselves in the next couple of years, because this is really what's defining this generation now, because graphics don't mean much anymore. But this audio, the audio settings, and then the controller feedback, like that defines this generation now, because it actually feels future. Like, sure, you can play Halo 6 and it's going to look fucking crazy, and yeah, you're going to have 60 frames and all this crazy shit. But does the controller make it feel like you're actually with it, like holding the gun as you fire it? The fact that these games are going to have, like, as from what I understand, Call of Duty Cold War, a lot of the guns feel different. So there's actually that sense of like things. It isn't just a rumble; it's more than that now, and it actually adds to that immersion.
So with myself as a marketing professional, as a digital marketing professional, I can tell you one thing that is going on in this world. We are in an experience era where we look at the experience from anything else, because like you said, the graphics don't matter. Right now, it's the experience, because the fact that the fucking controller can let you feel like, oh, it's raining in the game, shows a new level of experience that has never been done before. So that's what's going on right now, is that the experience era is going on, and the experience era is going so fucking prominent that it's really affecting everything. It's like, I don't even care. Like the one game that is included with the PS4, what's it called again? I'm sorry.
Astro's Playroom, or PS4.
Yeah. PS5. My apologies.
Astro's Playroom.
Yeah, but that game is probably, from what I saw, it's not that visually stimulating.
I mean, it still is. It's still visually stimulating, because it's running at 60 frames, so it looks pretty fucking flawless.
Yeah. But it's more the experience than the actual visual aspects, and that's what we're looking at now, is the experience of anything. And with the PS5, this experience of the controller being so interactive, that if Xbox doesn't release a controller that actually does that, they're going to be so fucking far behind. It's uncanny.
I mean, they might just not do it because, they might not think it's worth looking into at this point, but they're going to be pretty foolish not to do it now, because that's the defining thing.
Do it.
I wouldn't say they have to, because if that's the case, then shouldn't Nintendo? But Nintendo's not going to do it.
Nintendo offers a different experience with the portability.
But would it not be better? Is it not the break? Is this controller not a breakthrough thing?
I get that, but Nintendo also, with their
No. You're not making excuses for Nintendo. This is honestly like straight up, man. This should be every controller. This should be in every controller now, because it's immersion based.
Dell Alienware is now creating a Switch-like console that Nintendo.
Well, they should do it too. We should find a way to do that for PC games somehow. Like, your mouse should be able to vibrate at some point. Like, it should be a thing that you just deal with.
I believe the Switch is about 3 years old, Chris, or
2017. So yeah. Actually, it's weird though you mentioned that, because Steam just got client beta updates where they're adding all the features of the PS5 controller. Apparently, haptic feedback will be, like as found in the controller, will be available to developers like within the next month or so.
And that's crazy too.
But it's still up to the developers to actually.
Now, granted, you're going to see a lot of PC Master Race guys be like, "I'm still using mouse and keyboard. I don't fucking care."
Yeah, apparently it's only like 20% that uses controller. So
it's haptic feedback of because what was going on with the PS5 controllers, the haptic feedback was designed for that controller. So there's definitely multiple vibration servos in that controller, where on a Xbox 360 controller or Xbox One controller, which one is this one, Chris?
That's a one.
That's one.
Yeah. So the Xbox One controller has 2 vibrating servos. So I don't know if the haptic feedback is going to be compatible with a controller like that.
No, it's not.
I mean, they have to redo a controller. They have to do a whole another controller. That's the reality.
Yeah, they'd have to remake a new one. Speaking of this, Adam, what was your favorite feedback moment or like type of feedback that you got during Astros?
The sand. When the sand was blowing past you.
Sand.
And it actually does feel like you're
like
your hands are getting hit by single grains. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Mine is still the rain. When it was raining and you could feel the rain on the controller. Yeah. Yeah. In Miles Morales, the only time you really feel the haptic is every time he's using a keyboard. You can actually feel the keys being typed on your left hand.
Yeah, I mean, not every game's going to go crazy with it.
Weird.
Some games are definitely going to do more than the others. I think it also depends, too, on how much time you're going to spend on the game, because if you spend so much time with the haptic feedback part of it, you're going to be downgrading some other parts of the game. So I think it really depends on what we're looking at. I honestly think that stuff like this is going to make a lot more sense with stuff like, say, shooters, because, again, that's where the recoil is going to be definitely part of it.
I think it'll be really cool with sniper rifles.
So shooters.
Or sniper rifles in general. Does that have to be a shooter?
All right, well, I'm done talking about that. So I said to these guys before the show I had a hot take. I actually have 2 hot takes now.
Ooh, you don't like sniper rifles.
So, hot take number 1. Bugsnax is better than Jedi Fallen Order.
What's Bugsnax?
I'll get to that.
As long as you don't play the song, that's all I get.
The second hot take is that both of them actually kind of suck and aren't worth finishing either way. So, I'll start with Jedi Fallen Order because I dropped that one within like 3-4 hours. I tried really hard to stay with it. I finished the first major, like, I guess temple, the one that you have to do like the ball puzzle for, where you got to force push the ball around.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
That part didn't bother me. This is where my problem with the game lies. I'm 5 hours into this game. I give no shits about anybody in this fucking game, nor the world. I have no care in the world about anybody on that screen. Not a single fucking person.
What?
Cal is boring as shit. I can't think of the guy's name now, but the fucking fly guy, he's just every stereotypical like guy, like older guy with a fucking mouth to him. And then I think it's Sarah, the girl.
I think
the only defining characteristic of that girl is that her eyes, for some reason, are super fucking wide open, and I'm not sure why, and it's really off-putting.
I did notice that.
Like she looks like she's like trying to stare really hard to the point that like you see your nose in the middle of your fucking face. But like none of the 3 of them did anything in that first 5 hours to make me go, all right, I like these people. I want to stick around with them. And then the villain was just every stereotypical, at least at this point, every stereotypical, I'm evil. And that was it. So after doing, I did a bit of that side like red world dungeon. And another thing that I don't like about that game is the fact that you can go places and just do fuck all in it because you can't unlock anything yet. So I'm like, well, that's pointless. Like, I walked onto that world being like, all right, I'll start with this world first, because JRPG head is going, okay, finish the small one that's not as crazy story content first, and then you can go to the big stuff. And within, like, 30 minutes, I go, oh, wait, there's literally nothing to do here. Why am I here? So I go to the other world, and by the time I got to the other world, I was just like, I'm not being drawn in at all. So I couldn't. I tried really hard, but I couldn't.
Wow. Are you a Star Wars guy? You're not a Star Wars guy.
I mean,
right?
I have, like, an interest in Star Wars, but I mean, if this very loose lore is supposed to keep my attention, like, sorry, you're going to have to do better than that to get me in terms of a story.
I found that
it could be the lore.
I'm definitely not a Star Wars guy, but this was legitimately my favorite thing of the Star Wars lore. I thought the story was unique, but I don't know. Like for me, maybe Adam may be a bigger Star Wars fan than me.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like a Star Wars super fan, but that's why I liked this game, because even every little cutscene where it seemed like nothing was really happening at the beginning, I was like, oh, I get this. Oh,
for me,
I know what's going on.
Like you guys described it the best. It was Uncharted mixed with Star Wars, and I'm like, oh, this would be pretty interesting, and I loved it.
Well, my rule of thumb is always like, you have probably about 3 to 5 hours to give me something to hook my teeth on. And when the 3 main characters that I have to work with are either boring to me or just every cliche in the book, doesn't work. I can play any JRPG, even the slowest ones. There's at least somebody there that I'm like, I like this guy. I can deal with this. Or at least there's some intrigue. After playing the bit of the story that I did, I don't really know what I'm doing apart from I'm I feel like I just walked into a Star Wars Harry Potter where somebody just walked into me and be like, "You're a Jedi, Adam," and that's the fucking story. Because another thing too, and this is me nitpicking, by the way. They should not have shown Cal being a Jedi right away. They should have hid that shit for longer.
So,
or like he should have like slowly learned as he went. The fact that he's already carrying the lightsaber just kind of killed it for me. As soon as that happened, I'm like, what was the point of all that then?
Story. How do you feel about the story? Like, I don't know if you got to the big part of what the story is all about.
I mean, I literally just finished that first dungeon, and I have no inclination to. So if there's something that's supposed to happen later that gets my attention, sorry, Respawn, I love you. You've done some great shit, but you didn't do a good enough start to keep me interested.
Okay.
Yeah, see, him being a Jedi right away, it's because it takes place right after, a little after the third movie where all the Jedis are on the run.
I know
that
much.
To have been killed.
I'm more being in the sense of like, they don't make it seem like the way when he used the Force powers, I thought he's awakened. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then he has the lightsaber on. I'm like, oh, he's just a full-fledged Jedi. Okay, well, fuck. Well, there goes that fun.
Yeah. Well, he was was he a full Jedi? Maybe a Padawan?
Well, he's more of like an apprentice when the purge happens.
Yeah.
But it's still the sense of like, I thought originally that it was more like an awakening. So I'm like, oh, cool, he's going to learn as he goes, which would have made sense in the way that the game runs. But as soon as they give him the lightsaber and he's already fighting and shit, I'm like, okay, so.
But there is one weapon that's not common in Star Wars that you do get in this game.
Okay, well, tell me what it is, because I'm not going to get there.
Oh, you're done.
I'm done. I'm not playing it. I can't. There's no interest there.
Okay. The Darth Maul double-ended lightsaber.
What's different about that?
Well, that's in a ton of Star Wars games.
I was gonna say, what's different about that? You literally do that in Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay,
it's in Knights of the Old Republic.
I am not a Star Wars fan, so
well, you said it was Darth Maul, so then obviously it's not a new weapon.
I get that, but I thought it was like a specialty for just Darth Maul in general.
I mean, movie-wise, kind of.
That's the first time you saw it, yeah.
It's more implied, I guess, that you don't normally use it because generally speaking, Jedi battles are always one-on-one, so why would you carry the double?
Okay.
The reason
the double just seems like
he shows off that he has one, and then he shows the second one, but that's not. I don't think that's because that's his gimmick. I think it's also because he was fighting two people. He kind of needed it. He's blocking one guy, and he's like, "Oh shit! If only I had two lightsabers." I think it would have been cool if he just doubled it, but then again, you know.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, I really tried.
Okay, so I now have questions.
All right, fuck, I'll bite. We got nothing to talk about on this show. I'll bite.
I was just gonna say I have questions about bug snacks when you get there.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, I'm done with Fallen Order. So yeah, let's move to bug snacks. Before you ask your questions, I'll just quickly go through a little bit. So, if this game is marketed for children, they shouldn't have. It's definitely...
It's like a horror game.
Well, no, it's not quite a... There are a couple of moments that you could consider it towards the... I've watched what the rest of the game is. The ending is kind of horrifying, actually. But for the most part, I mean... It's almost like if you mix Pokemon Snap with, like, Ape Escape kind of deal. It's not...
Okay, so the main
character with Ape Escape,
kind of a walrus.
It's just in general, like, it's just... you're not actually playing as anybody specific. You don't really know what you look like. You're just expecting it... Oh, hi, cat. You're more or less expecting it to that be... You know, you're just one of those same people that are in there. The whole story really is that you end up on this fucking weird-ass island where all these animals that are actually food, and if you eat the animals, your body parts will turn into the food based on what you eat.
Yeah.
But more or less, it's just like you're taking pictures of all the bug snacks and you're catching them. That's more or less the game. Like it's almost like a lot of fetch questing. For the first couple of hours, I really like the charm of it. It's very charming. It's going back to Pokemon with just everything talks with just their words. So like there's one called Bunger. It's where it's a burger that's like a beetle kind of deal. And literally the voice of it is just Bunger, 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 ooh, Bunger, 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 Bunger. It's fucking Pokemon. So it was really charming in that aspect. There's some really fucking good ones in there too. There's some fun stuff in there.
I don't know why, but that reminds me of Snorlax.
The game itself is way too long. I think that was my problem. If this is a 4-hour game, I would have finished it, no problem. Once I got to about halfway into the game, I'd done everything that I could before it was just hitting repeat. So the game is not bad. It's just, it's way too repetitive by the time that, like, it's hard to stay with it. Because the story itself isn't so crazy that you're like, oh my God, I need to see more. It's so hammy and cheesy. Like, there's nothing to it that makes you go, I need to see what happens next. Because by the time you get to where I was, I couldn't have cared less what the actual main point of the game was going to be at that point. Because I'm like, man, I've done everything I can. Like, I have my fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have to play this and see how I feel.
I mean, it's free, so I'm not going to complain either, right? So it really didn't hurt my feelings.
I've already downloaded it.
I mean, but honestly, if you had just played it just to have a couple hours of fun with it, you don't even have to finish the game, and I felt like I got a lot out of it. I felt like I got a decent amount of, like, I smiled quite a lot. I had, like, the inner child smile on me for a good chunk of it. So, if that was the goal, it did a great job, but if the goal was to finish, that didn't work very well at all.
Did you ever play their other game, Octodad?
Oh, Octodad's fucking great. That's a game that actually worked pretty well, because it was a little bit shorter, too.
It was shorter, yeah. I think that was about 4 hours total. Like, I don't think it made it much past that. So that makes sense. Did this feel like the same company? Like, did it feel the same?
No, actually.
Like, vibe as Octodad?
I mean, in terms of the art style, maybe. But aside from that, this is definitely two completely different games. Like, if I'd never played Octodad, or sorry, if I had played Octodad like 20 years ago, or even if I just played Octodad and you erased my memory of the company name and I played this, I wouldn't have thought, oh, this must be the Octodad guys. I wouldn't have got that sense.
All right, okay.
So basically,
I'm gonna have to give this a go.
What I have heard Adam say is Jedi Fallen Order, whereas Bugsnax good. Oh, sorry,
Jedi Fallen Order is boring, and Bugsnax just gets repetitive. That's how I look at it. You had some questions, Chris, unless I already answered most of them.
Both are bad.
What's that?
Yeah, that was basically I was going to ask, what did you think of Bugsnax? So yes, you answered.
Yeah, I mean, for a 2 to 4 hour experience, it would have been fantastic, and as an 8 to 12 hour experience, not so much. Yeah, it kind of grates on you after a while.
I'll definitely get around to it, but I have a lot of.
I would suggest to anybody, like, especially because it's free. Like, if you just have a PlayStation account, go on the web store and just download it. So if you ever get a PS5, you have it for free.
Yeah.
So I mean, pop it in for a couple hours. You'll enjoy the first little bit of it. It's just some of you might finish it, but some of you might be like me and just be like, all right, like this is getting to be too samey.
Yeah.
But it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Oh, I was very curious because I saw you playing that on the PlayStation, and I was like, oh, I wonder what he thinks.
That's the name of it.
Not what I was expecting.
I mean, it was okay.
I saw him playing.
Like, as a game itself, like I said, perfectly fine. Like this actually has a pretty nice foundation to it. It could be pretty fun. Like if Pokemon did something like this too, it'd be pretty cool. But if this is like what Pokemon Snap ends up being down the road, like that'd be pretty neat. But I mean, I could not play a Pokemon. Well, I couldn't even play a Pokemon Snap game for more than a couple hours when I was playing that as a kid. Even then, I'm like, okay, this is getting kind of dumb.
I think they honestly could make Pokemon Snap a mobile game now.
Just make it VR.
But unfortunately, yeah, that's the thing.
You guys both forget.
I feel like it would go the path of Pokemon Go, where if you really wanted to get pictures of like really cool shit, you would have to go into like Walmart or something, which tarnishes the experience. But
what were you saying,
it is
Chris?
what it is.
Do you guys both forget there is a new Pokemon Snap coming out?
Yeah, but I don't think it's VR, is it?
I didn't know that.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Well,
VR.
I know there's one coming out, but I mean, it's probably going to be very similar to what the old one was, which is like you'll have some fun with it, but I don't imagine it's going to be this like life-changing game.
Oh, you wait until I review it on the podcast, then you'll know.
You'll intentionally do it.
Then you'll know.
Yeah,
you'll lie.
Chris,
I will. It was life-changing.
Chris will be like, it was life-changing. I fucking hated it. I hated my
He's gonna squirt like before he talks about it, he's gonna like go down, he's gonna squirt some water into his eyes and be like, I had so many emotions playing this.
I hated every second of it.
No, I'm gonna if it's anything like the old game, I'm gonna love it. If it's $70, I'm not getting it. But
if it's $20, I'm not getting it. I don't even have a Switch. But Last but not least.
Well, that's why you shouldn't get it.
Last but not least, I didn't know what the fuck to do after that. Like, I sat there just staring at my console being like, okay, is there anything I want to play? And then I looked at PC. I'm like, no, there's not really anything there. And I'm like, fuck. What do I do between this and Cyberpunk? So I finally just said, okay, screw it. I'm going to finally go back to Prime and see if there's any shows I want to watch. So I watched the first 5 episodes of the new Simon Pegg, Nick Frost Amazon special, Truth Seekers.
Oh, yeah. How is that?
It's okay. Like, if you go in thinking it's going to be as good as like all their movies were, you'll be disappointed. It's not that good.
Okay.
It's like if they took like a spooky ghost like show and just put some really dry comedy in there. There's some moments that I've been pretty smiley about, but for the most part, it's okay. Like I'm not over the moon on it. I do want to watch that. I'm probably going to check out Alex Rider as well, just because I want to see if it reminds me of like the old Do you remember that fucking spy movie with Frankie Muniz?
Oh my god, what? Agent Cody Banks?
Yeah. I'm getting those vibes, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll watch a dumb show. I'll watch a dumb like kiddie spy show. Let's do it.
Nice.
So I probably will end up checking.
Yeah,
I think at this point,
fun.
Up until Cyberpunk, I'm probably just gonna go binge a bunch of stuff now, just so I can get a couple of things out of my system. Because game wise, I don't think there's anything coming anytime soon. And I might as well not really start much of anything because Cyberpunk's within 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, and Black Friday sales on PlayStation at least are not good.
It'll be in 2 weeks.
I am honestly going to put money down on it now because I work for a place that's done a shit ton of marketing printing for it, and that didn't happen in all the other release dates they've had. So if you're putting money down to do marketing material now, I'd say there's a pretty good chance that you got it this time.
Oh, I know it's coming, and it's because it's already been. There's people that.
Well, there's also been leaked copies now, but
banned.
before that, I started seeing stuff getting printed for them. And I'm like, okay, you're not spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on marketing material if you aren't 100% sure this time.
Yep.
Because I was honestly surprised with the various dates they had that we weren't getting any stuff. Like, nobody was printing posters for it anywhere. We weren't seeing like banners being hung up anywhere. We were just seeing Twitter posts and shit like that. We were seeing like web advertisements, which cost fucking nothing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm pretty confident that Cyberpunk's going to happen this time. Now, if it ends up being good or not, there is that little bit of me that's like, man, there's been so many delays that it's either going to be so amazing because it isn't going to have a single bug to it, or it's going to run like shit, and that's what I'm worried about. It's going to be one or the other. I don't think there's a middle ground. It's either going to be amazing or it's going to be garbage.
At this point, if there's any delays, I think Adam will actually like snap at this point.
I don't care at this point. I'm fucking numb to it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Dude, I've had 2 Cyberpunk delays and COVID. Like, you think I give a shit anymore? I'm emotionless. I have no fucking shits left to give.
I am dead inside.
Well, I've been dead inside for a lot longer than that, but that's a whole different fucking story.
That's true. As long as we've known him, he has been dead inside.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Play Madden?
Nah, that's too easy. That's way too easy.
One of these days, on Game Pass, I'm going to download Madden 20, and I'm going to fucking go onto this podcast, and you guys are going to be like, what'd you do? I'm going to be like, I played fucking Madden. And you're going to think I'm joking.
Yeah, right. No, you got to play Madden 25, because that's the newest one, right?
No, that one's from the future, Adam. Jeez. God, we're not there yet.
I can't wait to see that. Like, what'd you guys do? I played Madden. Like, oh, okay, yeah. No, I played Madden. It's like, no, I was playing as the Dallas Cowboys from 2016. I was like,
Chris just shows a picture of him playing Madden with Dallas winning the Super Bowl and just making Vish like just die inside.
yeah. I don't know, like, you know what? We don't need to include football.
No, we're not doing that again.
No.
Okay, I said I wasn't doing it. You don't need to keep going at it. But
says the guy who doesn't know when to not keep going.
Yeah.
So speaking of Cyberpunk, since we were just talking about them, let's move into the quickies that we got, which is not too many.
Oh.
First one.
Nothing happened.
Very neat little thing. This is such a minor thing, but in the long run, this is a pretty cool option. So Cyberpunk 2077 is going to allow a streamer-friendly option so you won't get DMCA takedown on Twitter, or not Twitter, Twitch. So what they have is there's an option in the game where instead of playing, because there's a lot of copyright music in the game, Instead, you toggle the switch and any of that music gets replaced by stock music they've made specifically for the game as well.
Oh, wow.
And that it seems like such a weird thing to do, but in the long run, like this is going to be a big deal because now can you imagine playing Grand Theft Auto without having the music on? Because if you're a streamer, that's what you have to do. You
wouldn't be able to play it.
You would have to play Grand Theft Auto without music on if you were going to play that on Twitch.
You would have to be the talk radio station.
Well, even then, you wouldn't want to do that either because if you're talking over it, it's going to sound weird. So realistically, you can't use music. You'd have to put your own like stock music in the background, which might not fit. So
yeah.
So at least with this, like CD Projekt Red is really doing like as much as people like to shit on them right now because of all the crunch and stuff. They're just definitely doing a great job of being as friendly as they can to as many people as they can.
Yeah.
And especially now with like Twitch is hot right now with people getting pissed off about all the takedowns going on. There is a lot of copyright striking happening to a lot of channels right now. And it's
apparently
not good.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know. I've heard that it's not even Twitch's fault that a bunch of companies
it's the record industry. What do you expect?
The record industry like clamped down.
I know,
Twitch.
shocking discovery. The record industry are a bunch of greedy fucking assholes. What a shocker! I know, right?
No, not at all.
Isn't it amazing that some of the biggest artists of all time barely make more than a nickel off of each fucking CD sale they ever made?
Is that now or is that back then?
Both.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Can you imagine being Michael Jackson with one of the best-selling albums of all time and you're only getting paid a nickel per sale?
It's the best-selling album of all time.
Now imagine being somebody today where you know your best-case scenario is like 500,000 copies sold.
Yeah.
Your money, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the story that I heard? It had to do with 50 Cent, but somebody was like, give him the CD for free and get him to buy a t-shirt, because that's where you make your fucking money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
because merch sales, you get a way bigger cut.
So there's a tactic in marketing. It's like, so buy a t-shirt for $12. Shipping is $6. No, thank you.
Yeah,
buy there's for $20. Shipping for free. Guess what everyone's gonna choose? The shipping.
Well, that's the thing. You go on eBay. Will you buy the thing that's $12 but with $10 shipping, or will you buy the thing that's $21?
I would rather buy the $21 shipping. Yeah.
I mean, even without the price difference, you just see free shipping and you're like, oh, that's better. But anyways, all that shit aside, Cyberpunk's doing a very good job of at least doing as much as they can to at least, not be douchey once the game gets released, which I think is a major plus.
I still love this company. I think that they're very forward thinking. I think they're geniuses.
Well, it's like I said, I'm gonna be so depressed if that game doesn't end up being any good. If that game is like not like at least a 7 or an 8, like I'm gonna be pretty depressed because they've done so much goodwill with that.
Yeah. It's gonna suck when it's not a perfect 10 and it's like a 9 out of 10 game.
I won't complain.
And there's so many people that complain. There'll be so many people on Reddit that'll complain.
One game I've ever seen 9.9, and it was on IGN. Only one game I've ever seen 9.9. No, 2. They were Conker's Bad Fur Day and Majora's Mask.
Yeah, and you want to talk about a stupid score, 9.9. What was the 0.1 that didn't make it perfect? Really?
From what I hear, Majora's Mask put a lot of people in murderous rage.
Yeah, and apparently that was only worth 0.1%. Or 0.1 of a score? Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I did not like Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask is not a great game, and it definitely hasn't aged well either.
No.
Did you finish it or no?
No.
I didn't. I bought it, and I did not finish it. I paid like $70.
And Chris is probably like the biggest Zelda guy out of all of us. He's the one with the fucking tattoo.
I was huge into Zelda at the time. And I was like, what is this shit? What the fuck?
It's almost like adventure games with time fucking limits don't work very well.
No.
Final Fantasy 13-3 Lightning Returns, you dumb fucks. Hey, let's make a JRPG that doesn't allow you to play everything. What a novel concept. That would be like playing a shooter game where you don't get to use anything aside from 2 pistols.
And you only have 13 bullets for the whole game.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that sounds like Resident Evil.
Question.
That does sound like Resident Evil.
These 2 pistols, Do you have one in each hand, or is that just two?
No, you only get one at a time. You don't even get to dual wield.
At a time.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, that's bullshit.
You know, it wasn't bullshit though. Raising money for charity, which is what Desert Bus for Hope did. So this has been going on for I don't even know how long. The Loading Ready Run team have been doing that for a long time.
God, I can't.
Canadian, by the way.
It's over 10
Fuck
years.
yeah.
Oh, it's Canadian.
Yeah, they're out in BC.
Oh, okay.
They were actually at Com Bravo. I want to say like 3 years ago, and I got to meet. Who is it that was all there? Graham and Kathleen were definitely there, and there was one other, and I'm just blanking on his name. I think it might have been Matt. But yeah, or no, it was James. There we go. But yeah, I've met a couple of them. That was pretty cool. But yeah, they raised almost $1 million for Child's Play, which is a great fucking charity. And all they do for 164 hours straight is they play Desert Bus, which is a mini game within a Penn and Teller old, like, I can't remember what fucking system it was for.
Sega CD? No.
I think you're right on that.
Yeah, maybe.
Is it like a is it a simulator game? It sounds like.
So let me tell you what the game is. So imagine that you're driving a bus in first person down a desert road.
Oh fuck!
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. There's no end game. This is back in the day when games didn't have to make sense.
Yeah.
What year is this game?
Oh, this is like early 90s, I think.
Early 90s. Do you know Penn and Teller?
Yes.
Yeah. So they created this collection of a few games, and apparently, because Angry Video Game Nerd did an episode on this, and apparently this one game, they thought it was fucking hilarious to put in a game, drive a bus, and it never ends. They thought it was funny, and for some reason they shipped it. Like fucking people were like, "Yeah, Penn and Teller, they're so popular right now because it's 1993 or whatever the fuck it was," and they shipped this game. Like not just this. There's like 5 games I think on the collection or something like that. But everybody knows it for Desert.
Nobody remembers the other 4 now, though.
Yeah,
I was in a Penn and Teller's popularity really started in like the late 2000s.
They've had different waves.
That's when I thought
they've had different waves. They've been consistently
Yeah.
popular their entire career because if you're in Vegas, you go see Penn and Teller. That's always been the reality of it. But in terms of like mainstream media, they went in waves. Like they had their big show on Showtime, which is called Bullshit. Then they had their Penn and Teller Fool Us Magic show in this past decade. So they come in waves.
Yeah.
But
in the 90s they were huge. They were on Friends even.
Yeah. They've done a lot of stuff.
They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, Penn was also on one season of Celebrity Apprentice, not very long, mind you, but he was on it. So they're all over the place. But going back to Desert Bus for Hope.
They had that long of a legacy, that's all.
Oh no, they've been around. They have a hell of a legacy. They're probably one of the most synonymous magicians there are out there right now.
Was that as David Copperfield? But that's another story. But so this game, you're driving a bus throughout the desert, and there's like no end game to it.
That's it.
That's it.
Just
how long can you go?
So the Loading Ready Run guys thought it'd be a great idea for charity to do a 24-hour live stream when they did it way back when. It obviously isn't just one person playing the game for 24 hours. They'll rotate and they'll do. Often what they used to do is they'd have like skits on the side, so they would have it in the background while they did other stuff because they're a comedy sketch group, so they also did that stuff. Now, of course, on Twitch, or I guess on streaming, streaming online, obviously with COVID, the picture here alone, they show like, what is that? I'm trying to do math in my head. 18 different screens with many different people on it. So their team is a lot more big than it used to be. So they definitely put a lot more work into it. I never watched any of the stream this time because I don't have as much time to watch streaming as I could. But there's always like, it's the game, but then they'll do skits. They'll do kind of like what you see on Extra Life streams, where if you hit certain donation goals, they'll do certain stuff. There's stuff they give away, like AGDQ does. So there's also, it's not just you staring at a screen full of a really shitty 90s desert going on. There's a lot more to it. But that game is always running. So for 164 hours, that game never turned off.
That's insane. That's insane.
But
it was still just one screen of the game?
Yep.
So this is
okay. So there's a group of people there, but only one version of the game is on. Okay.
I mean, I would like maybe they did do because again, I don't know how they would have done it this time. Maybe they all had their own version going on and they just played it when it was their turn. But I would imagine they wouldn't because there's an odometer on there that would tell you the mileage. So I don't know. I'd have to actually look at the stream to see. But
so this is reminding me of
screen share.
You guys remember Game Genie, right?
Yeah, we're not that forgetful.
Okay. So with for the OG like Super Mario Brothers 1, there was a Game Genie cheat code of Ultra Jump. So one day I jumped over the flagpole and it was just endless. Like that's a glitch in the game. Like you jump over the flagpole and keep running. It's an endless like that you don't stop. It stops when the time runs out in the level.
So it's not endless.
So this is fair enough. But yeah, this is what it's reminding me of right now. It's like the whole, like it goes on for that long.
All right, this part went on for way too long, so we're gonna move on. Let's move on to things we can actually sink our teeth into, which is not much because it's all speculation at this point. But first off, we know for sure Deadpool 3 is a thing that's happening, and it's gonna still be R-rated, and at this point would be possibly the first R-rated Marvel MCU film.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Could also be an open door for the X-Men to come in, which is also a plus. Which, by the way, I like if they start with Deadpool because it's better you start with obviously just Colossus and Teenage Nega Warhead or Negateen. I can't remember the order of the words. And Yukiko.
Warhead.
So that works out nicely that you're starting small and you're going to work your way in. I think that's a great way to do it. And to do it with a film that everybody is really pumped to see, because even as much as like a lot of us agree that Deadpool 2 wasn't nearly as good as Deadpool 1, doesn't matter that it still wasn't a fucking blast to watch. So
yeah, oh yeah.
And I mean, I still actually like Deadpool 2 more just because I laugh more in that one, and that's all I went for Deadpool for. So
true. I think with this one,
it was more the end credits
because true. When you're using Deadpool. At the end of the second one, spoiler alert, he had that like time travel thing. They could totally just do something stupid that Deadpool was like jerking off and came on it or some shit.
They show literally scenes from all the movies over time and how he's always been there, just in the background, just jerking off the entire time.
Oh, they could have done that, yeah. I was thinking that.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised with Deadpool 3. They spent a good chunk of it just him in various scenes, like him like superimposing himself on like major scenes, just like really hidden in the background, just with like popcorn. Hulk is bashing Loki all over the fucking ground in the Avengers Tower, and just Deadpool suddenly behind the bar, just being like, just watching. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah, I think actually that will happen. He's been there the entire time. He just didn't do anything.
He actually could have stopped Thanos from snapping, and he's like, "Oh, I can't wait to see where this goes." Yeah. And he actually dies. Half of him actually dies, and this is his bottom half. He's like, "Fuck."
No. Also, it's like when Thanos snaps, he's one of the first to get evaporated. For fuck's sake!
No. It's only half of him. It has to be half of him, and it has to be his dick's half. It has to be the dick half.
See, what I'm thinking is they could use
it's literally vertically in half, so he's only got half his dick, so it's even worse.
Also, put him in the portal scene of Endgame. Be like, yeah, fuck this, I'm out of here.
No, he walks through and be like, oops, wrong door. Walks right back in the other and goes back out. But all in all, it's more Deadpool. So I mean, for us, that's always a plus.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good, so good.
It's please let that happen. It's
I'm more just excited for the potential of like an R-rated movie being contained within all these MCU films, and just like how's Disney gonna sell that? But they had to do it like
it's Deadpool, part of the MCU, and Marvel.
If Deadpool legitimately, if they try to put it down to a PG, or even just like a I don't know, like a 17A, people would flip. People would legitimately flip.
Well, that was the thing.
It's got to be R-rated or nothing.
originally Deadpool was like, oh, Deadpool's going to be PG-13, and then Deadpool comes, kills Mario. I was like, fuck you. Of course Deadpool's rated. What the fuck you think it was going to be?
Well, apparently they were trying to get the new movie to not be R-rated, but again, they fought for it.
It doesn't need to be. Okay, I'm sorry, but superhero fans, they're not kids anymore.
Vish.
We're in our 20s, 30s.
There are kids that are superhero.
We aren't the only superhero fans.
Yeah,
I get that.
Like my 4-year-old nephew watches Marvel like crazy right now.
He liked my my mask that I use for when I go out.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yes, but that has nothing to do with Deadpool.
But that is,
here's the great example. So here's a great example. You guys know China from WWE, right?
Yeah.
For a long time,
rest in peace.
She finally got put in the Hall of Fame not too long ago, but for a long time, Vince refused to put her in the Hall of Fame because of her porn career. Because he didn't want children to watch the show, hear her name, and Google it.
Oh, yeah, it's because, Vince McMahon, you are the fucking king of morality, you piece of shit.
Well, that part doesn't matter. It's just, it's that PR marketing thing. You don't want stuff to be found that you don't want to. So if I'm Disney, I don't want this potty mouth humor that all these kids would be exposed to because, again, marketing PR has learned that it's always got to be like conservative Christian fucking somebody please think of the children. They don't want, I guarantee you, the heads of Disney don't, no matter how much money Deadpool makes, they didn't want Deadpool next to this franchise they've created that kids can go and see. Even though there is some violence there, and even though there is the odd like cursing in there, it's not remotely what Deadpool is. They don't want that next to each other because if you do a marathon, and people see on the list Deadpool 3, you're going to watch Deadpool 3 and you're going to see what that is and be like, oh.
Yep.
So they don't want that. That's just the reality.
No, the absolute funniest was because Deadpool first came out on Valentine's Day that year, and there was one poster where it was Ryan Reynolds and Manira Baccarin, like the super hot Brazilian girl who plays his fiance.
We know. You just had to say his fiance, but thank you for adding all the extra stuff.
I don't know how to pronounce her last name. That's the only
Doesn't
thing.
matter.
But there was one poster where they're on a park bench in New York and be like, Deadpool, a love story. And I don't know how many people actually fell for the fact that it's like, oh, it's a romantic love a Valentine's Day movie.
Probably not as many people back in the, I think it would have been 80s that fell for the Rocky Horror Picture Show because they thought it'd be a horror movie.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that's true.
My parents were those people. They fell for it.
Huh.
Now, granted, my mom loves Rocky Horror now, so it wasn't so bad in the end, but can you imagine going into a horror film, thinking it's a horror film, and it ends up being Rocky Horror?
Okay, is it a musical or is it a comedy?
It is a very flamboyantly, like, LGBT musical.
Yes.
Okay.
Very.
I have never seen it, so.
Oh, we should change that too.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I'm not even saying that jokingly. We should. Like, it's fucking as much as I gave my girlfriend shit. It's such a good movie. My girlfriend's a big fan of it. I used to give it shit because I really didn't like it too much. Because again, anything your parents show you when you grow up, you don't like very much. But then when I watch it with friends that actually are really enjoying it, I can appreciate the musical aspect of it. I don't care still much for like the movie itself, other than the fact that I'll thumbs up anything that Tim Curry's in usually. So.
No, I think I need to watch it once.
Oh, you definitely should.
Just I don't want to watch it once. Yeah, because I hear it's actually a enjoyable film to watch.
It was to the point that like nobody wanted to see it redone, and when they decided to do it, people were not happy.
There's some movies
that redid it.
They don't need to.
I don't know if they actually did or not, but it was supposed to happen on like MTV or Much or something like that. And it was like Laverne Cox, I think, was going to play Frankenfurt. I may be wrong on some of the details, but it was definitely happening, or if it hasn't happened already.
I don't think it hasn't. I'm on IMDb
I'm almost positive it has at this point.
It may have been a made-for-TV special or even like a live show.
Well, that means it's happened.
I don't think it's
well, let's be completely honest. Rocky Horror is not big enough that it would get another theater release for a new movie. It's not big enough that it would.
No, it's not.
Either way,
I have a better chance putting the old one back in theaters.
Yeah.
We're spending way too much on this aside. So Deadpool.
No, I cannot. I'm so like, I don't know when theaters are going to be open. I don't know when life goes back to normal.
I don't really care at this point because waiting is a lot more important than seeing a fucking movie. You dumb fucks that are still this pissy about it. Like, holy shit, I'd rather not die. Because, by the way, side note for those who are still mad about it, that are like, oh my god, I just want this to be over. It can either be over when it's fucking over, or you can die and not get to see all these movies that you want to see. So take that as you might.
I want to get some barbecue in Toronto really badly.
I am not spending the rest of this show talking about how I want to walk to that fucking barbecue place in Etobicoke and punch every one of those fucking anti-maskers in the fucking throat so that they cough for real.
Would that be before or after in getting barbecue?
No, that place doesn't deserve a fucking cent for me.
Fair enough.
No, get barbecue from somewhere else, then bring it.
Yeah, there. I'll go get Memphis barbecue and then fucking come over there.
Yeah, when I heard it was a Toronto, like, oh, please don't be Memphis, please don't be Memphis, and I heard it was in Memphis. I'm like, okay.
By the way, that place also got ticketed too because they didn't even have a fucking business license. So, here's a side tip: if you're gonna be really, really anti-law, you might want to make sure you have your papers.
Yeah, that'd be a good start.
Fuck the police.
Genius.
But speaking of papers, that's about the best I could do. I'm just thinking. So, 007's gonna have a video game.
Sure.
And he's got his papers to come in to MI6.
So we don't really know much beyond it. It's a working title. Project 007. I mean, the trailer doesn't even really show anything, so it's more just they announced that there's a 007 game. What's more important is just the fact that, like, we're getting one because we haven't had one since, oh my god, what would have the last one been? Would it have been
from Rush? No,
would it have been Legends?
Or it would have been the Daniel Craig GoldenEye remake.
Yeah, the GoldenEye remake.
Would have been GoldenEye remake, or would have been the Legends one, because there was that one too, where it was like all the missions from all the 007 movies.
Oh yeah, and that was on PS3, right?
I am going
360 PS3 time.
The Wii was released in the PS3 era, so I'm not sure.
Let's see.
Yeah, they're both really close to each other.
The last one, yeah, it was Legends. It was 2012. GoldenEye Reloaded was 2011.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, they were really close.
So
I remember Legends. I think I had that.
I'm not counting because apparently there was a mobile game in which I go, fuck you, no one cares. Honestly, to me, the last good one they ever did was probably Everything or Nothing, which is 2003. And that's specifically the PlayStation 2. No, was it I can't even fucking remember what console it was. But like it was a third-person Bond, and it was actually pretty decent. In terms of the first-person Bonds, they haven't been good since like the Nightfire games, where they were more like arcadey.
Nightfire was so good.
Agent Under Fire and Nightfire were so much fun.
Yeah, those two were really good. Yeah, because besides, there was Legends and the GoldenEye remake, and they were okay. They felt more like, yeah.
No, I don't think they're going to be arcadey because the guys that are doing it are the guys that used to do Hitman.
No,
it's going to be stealth.
The last one I played was the From Russia with Love, the PS2 game, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. I never really got into it like much after 1 hour. Like I never finished it. But what I would like from this Bond game that they're making, the fact that like the Hitman thing, like that is awesome, but also have the balls to make it M-rated, because I think that
I could see them doing that. They probably could.
Yeah.
I'm putting up footage of Nightfire because fuck yeah.
Yeah, like what is Hitman rated?
And it's broken.
It's M, and Hitman has always been M-rated.
Oh, is it? Okay, then yeah, then it's good.
All right, fine.
Yeah, because whatever they do with Hitman, do that.
Fine, YouTube, be broken. For some reason, it's not showing on the stream, and I have no idea why. So whatever.
It doesn't like you.
Yeah, I guess not.
That's okay. Can't win them all.
Yeah, honestly, well, Bond games, honestly, well, they didn't release a lot after the after Nightfire. There weren't a lot after that. Like, there were a couple here and there, but they were really uninspired. I remember Quantum of Solace, and I remember getting that for the Wii, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be cool. It's motion control James Bond, and I played it within like 10 minutes, I'm like, holy fuck, this is a broken piece of shit.
Also,
I didn't even know that existed.
Shit.
Yeah, this is in the era when anything that was that was tied into a movie franchise was always as most half-assed as possible.
Yeah, they actually did make
the 360 PS3 era is literally the fucking like screaming shits for anything tie-in franchise. Oh my god!
Don't buy anything.
They made a Ghost Rider game, a Captain America game, and a Thor game to coincide with the movies.
They made an Iron Man game too.
And
a Hulk game.
The Hulk game was fun.
Yeah, I heard the Hulk game was actually good. Because you could grab cars and make gloves.
I mean, better than Iron Man, sure.
The Iron Man game was horrendous.
Like, basically every movie tie-in game was like Superman 64. Every fucking one of them was like that. Just so bad.
64 is the next level of utter garbage.
Yeah, that's how bad these games were.
Yeah, that's crazy. Which is crazy to think that GoldenEye was such a good game at the time, because
it's also crazy to think too that they easily fucked up a first-person shooter, which, in my opinion, is the hardest to fuck up. You just got to make a game with good gun mechanics and nice set pieces, and you're done. And for a Bond game, that should be easy.
Yeah, for Quantum of Solace, you mean the one?
Well, in general, like Bond games in general should be so easy to do. Just make some cool set pieces, have some fun gadgets in there, and make sure the gun plays fine.
I think it was also the timing of GoldenEye, because when GoldenEye came out, there was never really co-op first-person shooting.
No, but it wasn't necessarily that. Like, those games afterwards were still really good. It's just whatever happened. I got
so used to GoldenEye, it was like it was in playing. Like, I feel like playing tonight. GoldenEye.
No, I don't look at GoldenEye as being like, people weren't playing like From Russia with Love or Rogue Agent or Quantum of Solace thinking, man, it's not like GoldenEye. People played those games and went, this is not fun.
Yeah, they were not fun.
Because when you have games like Battlefield and Call of Duty, hell, even in the PS2 era, you had 13, which, by the way, the remake is fucking horrible. First-person shooters, like I said, are really hard to fuck up. Like, it's one thing to make a first-person shooter when the story sucks. It's another thing to make a first-person shooter when it's not even fun to play. It's really hard to do that. Especially if your game isn't a buggy mess, which can happen. But if your game's not a broken mess and it's just not fun in a first-person shooter, that's really hard to do.
Yeah. I remember on N64 there was another James Bond first-person shooter game, right? Where it was The World Is Not Enough. And I got that because I was huge into the GoldenEye game, loved the campaign, unlocked all the stuff. Like, it was a good game.
I hated that campaign, though. There was one mission. It was the thing where you're in, like, the caves and you had to take, like, a rail cart. And I could never figure out how to fucking do that mission, so I just kept dying.
Oh, yeah. That was hard. That was hard, but fun. God, that game was so good. Yeah, the World Is Not Enough. Not a great game. I played it a lot because I was young and stupid, but
it seems like rare games have rare shooter games have a problem in the future, because Perfect Dark has never been good since. And I keep hearing rumors that a new Perfect Dark's in production, and I'm like, man, I don't even want to give you guys the opportunity to fuck it up twice, because Perfect Dark Zero was so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask. I was like, was it
one of the worst launch titles ever, in my opinion?
What's this?
That would have been Xbox.
Xbox or 360?
Was it 360 or normal Xbox?
Actually, no. Sorry, it was 360.
Can't remember.
It was that bad for 360.
Okay. It was, like I said with Quantum of Solace, the gameplay wasn't even fun. Oh my god! Wow. And they also ruined Joanna Dark, because they made her into this like fucking bright red haired like punk girl that had like an attitude, and it's like, man, Joanna Dark's a professional fucking spy, and they turned it into like some teenage fucking. It looked like it came out of the Teen Choice Awards. That's what it fucking looked like. It was so uninspired. It looked like they didn't want to make that game.
If that sequel happened in the 90s, I get it. But in the fucking like late 2000s, like, women are actually trying to be empowered. Like, why the fuck would you make a character like that?
Joanna Dark should have been one of the biggest female characters in gaming, and she's not. because they fucked it up.
Yeah, because in the original game, she was a badass, serious.
She's one of the originals when it comes to big time like female fronted games. She was big.
Laura Croft.
I mean, you still have Samus, but
Samus. I mean,
but yeah, it's just so it's going back to 007. It's so frustrating to think back to some of the games and just being like, man, like to me, it's literally been almost 20 years since I've truly enjoyed like a 007 game, which should be impossible.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, there's been 1,000 Call of Duties, and I enjoy almost every single one of them when I play them, and there's not a single 007 game in there.
Yeah.
Now with the Hitman
I think
style,
you were right with the last ones.
Oh, sorry. Finish what you were doing. Because I was going to go to a different point.
Oh, I was just saying. I think that you're right. Just where the last ones were the Everything or Nothing, and Agent of Fire.
Once we got past the PS2 generation, it just
Under
died.
Fire. Yeah. After that, I did not enjoy them. I played them, but did not enjoy them.
I remember being so excited for the GoldenEye redo, and when I played it, I'm like, they didn't fucking get it.
No. I played through that whole thing and I did not love it.
I didn't. I couldn't do it. It hurt. It fucking legit hurt to do that. It felt like we were being like stabbed in the back.
Yeah.
But if it's a Hitman game, I'm torn on that cuz I get why people like Hitman games. My problem with Hitman games is they're too slow.
They are quite slow.
There is a lot of downtime
about like
in a Hitman
thinking
game.
of the perfect approach.
Yeah, and to me,
which
it's
in a Hitman game it works, or it can work if you like it.
And I mean, sure, if you're James Bond, you're not always going guns blazing. But let's be completely honest: the best parts of James Bond are always when things go crazy with the set pieces. So,
yeah,
I would hope that they stick to the first. Like, if it's not first person, at least if it has to be third person, make it more like an Uncharted-ish kind of game. Make it more of like a mix between. There is some stealth, but there's still the set pieces too. I don't want it to be too much like Hitman because then it becomes too much like Casino Royale before it actually starts getting fun towards the end.
How about if it?
Yeah. I don't want too stealthy.
Solid.
Sorry, go ahead, Vish. I didn't catch that.
If it's like a Metal Gear Solid.
Well, if it's like Metal Gear Solid 5, yeah, I could probably see that. I don't know if I want it to be open world, though, because I don't want you to start a new... Like, let's assume this is the start of 007 again. Just make sure you get the game right first, and then we can worry about the crazy shit. I'd rather you have levels and make it almost like a Call of Duty campaign than I would you try to go crazy with an open world.
Yeah, I don't think open world would work.
007 Dr. No. Or like, no, Casino Royale.
The furthest I would want you to go is something like Arkham Knight where you have like the Bond car. But even then I'd be like, nah, just stick to the shooting. Like stick to that first.
Yeah. I hope they don't go too stealthy as well, because typically Bond isn't like a stealth character. In fact, James Bond will just walk into a room, start talking to the bad guy at a blackjack table. It's like, oh, what's your name? Oh, I'm James Bond.
Bond is probably like
fucking hide.
Bond is, if you were to put it, like 25% stealth, 25% talking, and 50% set pieces.
Yeah,
because like every Bond movie, almost every Bond movie is the first 15 minutes is that big fucking set piece.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want it to be like I have no problem with Hitman games, but I don't think a 007 should just be a Hitman game. If you want to put Hitman-esque stuff in it, sure, but make sure the focus is still on the crazy, like the gadgets and the fun, like the crazy, like insane set piece, like shooting.
Yeah,
that's the big thing about Bond. It's about the car. The most enjoyable parts, arguably, are the gadgets and the cars.
Make it like Mass Effect. You gotta be able to bang shit too.
Oh, there'll be sex scenes. It's a James Bond.
Get a hold of BioWare.
Okay, so they definitely make Bond M-rated now.
Yep. Works for me.
Just to include...
I mean, Bond movies more or less are always PG-13, so they probably would... I would figure they'd stick to that anyway.
Quick question. Have you guys ever played a teen game, like rated T for teen, with boobies in it? I am just honestly wondering.
Okay.
Right now.
Are you talking nude boobies? Because boobies exist in E games.
Okay. Okay. Yes, nude, like nipple showing boobies.
Well, for shocking showing nipples, no, because that wouldn't be allowed.
I don't know.
I want to say, is there a because I'm thinking JRPGs. That's my immediate instinct. Is there a JRPG that's team rated but still has partial nudity?
Like, I'm just thinking right now.
I don't think so.
I can't think of any T for teen games with actual like naked boobies in it.
Well, you're not. Well, if you're talking full nudity, no, because it wouldn't be allowed. But if you're talking like you're seeing a person like naked from the back, but you don't see bare ass either. Like you just see like the top half, and you can tell that she's naked, but you just don't see any.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm sure, but
because there's been some PG-13 movies.
I mean, Riku in Final Fantasy X literally strips off her clothes at one point. So,
do you see anything good?
See it.
No, you see her ass in shorts, but it's pretty damn obvious that she's stripping sexually.
Yeah, that doesn't count then.
And I mean, LeBlanc exists in Final Fantasy X too, where she's basically tits and ass, but it's still a T-rated game.
Yeah, there is no clothes on that woman.
So no, I mean there's definitely games that exist that fall into that spectrum, but I don't. You could probably do a Bond with sex scenes as a T-rated game, but you would just not show anything. Like you would show the kissing, and then you would see like feet out of the bed kind of deal.
Okay.
I mean, if they can pull it off in the films, I can't imagine why they wouldn't pull it off in a game. Because I mean, Bond games don't show blood.
Yeah, it would look like it
guys
does
get shot constantly, but you don't see blood.
So we're in agreement. Make this game rated M for mature.
I'm not in agreement because I don't necessarily think it has to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's needed because a lot of blood or gore doesn't need to make sense for a Bond story.
If Bond becomes an M-rated game, it's going to have more to do with nudity than it would have to do with the violence. Because Bond's never really been a violent series.
Bond's more of like a stealth killer. Shoots.
No. What I mean from violence is, I mean it's not bloody. Like guys die all the time, but nobody's like horrifyingly killed.
It's just like cheesy shot.
Like you get the cheesy shit, like the one guy that gets blown up to the point that he explodes in the old like Sean Connery ones, but
no, but Javier Bardem's character. He got a knife thrown in his back and died like that. Like that was probably one of the most like.
Yeah, but again, like you're not seeing like a shit ton of blood anywhere.
It was just a knife in general, yeah. I hope they make it like fucking 1960s Bond or 70s. Make it cheesy as fuck.
But also some dark moments too.
There's the part of me that just wants to go back to Pierce Brosnan because that's the last time it was good. But then again, this is the nostalgia in me talking rather than anything else.
Yeah, see, my nostalgia is like Roger Moore and Sean Connery. So for me, it's like put a fucking 1980s Lotus and go after Christopher Walken or some shit as a bad guy.
Personally,
let's do it.
Personally, no referencing to the movies. Have it be your Bond. I want character creator Bond. I want you to make your 007. You
know what would be the best? Make it a James Bond Jr. video game.
No, let's not do that. That was the James Pond games. Remember those?
Yeah, I remember. I owned James Pond.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, no, legitimately, I want character creator, which means yes, you could create, and I know this is going to piss off a lot of anti-SJW dumbasses. You could make a female James Bond,
and a black James Bond, or a brown James Bond.
I know
James Bond.
I say do it. I mean, I think they should have their own story. You should be able to make your own character. And just run with it. It doesn't have to be part of the movies. It's just James Bond being on a mission.
I mean, they're saying it's an original story, so that's already a good start. But I know that they'll probably just come up with their own Bond, but it's like give the fans a chance to do something fun with it.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I don't want to see a million fucking articles of people bitching about what the gender of Bond. Like, oh, I don't want to see a million articles be like, why isn't James Bond this now? I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. I don't want to give them the option. Just give everybody the choice to do whatever the fuck they want with it.
Yeah, I know.
They'll still complain.
I'm not even doing it for diversity's sake, even as much as I want to say that that's all I'm doing it for. I just want to stop hearing people bitch. Holy fuck.
I know.
If I had time to, well, I actually have time if I really wanted to. I would literally do an extra podcast. It's just me complaining about all the stupid shit I read on Reddit every day.
I will be busy that night. I don't know when it is, but I will make myself busy that night.
Oh, it's going to be 12 hours long.
Yeah, that's the problem. I do have a life outside of everything.
No, you don't, mister. I'd never play video games.
I have a life, so I forget to play video games, damn it.
That's bullshit. You just choose not to.
Don't you fucking say that. Fuck you, Adam. Fuck you.
Nope. I will not fuck me. I'm not Buffalo Bill.
Ooh.
Oh my.
Ooh, reference.
Okay, so when I watched The Silence of the Lambs for the first time in eternity,
I shouldn't have given him that segue, should I?
Yeah, you gave him a segue, man. How'd you even know?
The dance, it was so awkward to watch. I just forwarded through it because it's just
you
so
fucking
weird.
Pussy. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, pussy.
I'm okay with that. It was so awkward to watch. I'm like, I can't do this.
That's the point. That's the point.
It's supposed to make
awkward.
you uncomfortable. That was the point.
Yeah, and it worked so well that I didn't watch it.
You be the fucking dumb kid that watched Jake the Snake Roberts sick the snake on Macho Man and bite him in the arm that you would have fucking ran away from home because you were too scared.
No,
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. And I was
Which
like,
legit
oh
happened. A lot of kids ran away from home apparently when that happened.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
There's Joe Rogan had him on a podcast with comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, and he told the story about how a friend of his actually ran away from home after seeing that.
It was fucked. It was fucked.
Because it was a Saturday morning thing.
And it was live TV.
Yeah,
it wasn't like it was.
Well, it wasn't live TV. All that shit's taped.
Yeah.
WWF back then, they taped like 6 shows in advance. Like you wouldn't see a fresh show for like weeks.
Yeah, the one wrestling match I wish I could see live because I feel like it would be the most lit experience ever. Yes, I said lit, but it would be. I think it would be just an absolute blast. Was the one match where The Rock was refereeing with Triple H and Hound Dog, or what's the name, Adam?
Road Dog?
No, another one.
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about.
There was one match where The Rock was refereeing as a guest referee, and this guy, Triple H, did the pedigree on the guy, and the Triple H is trying to pin this guy, and The Rock is just applauding, being like, "Whew, that was amazing, man! That was so good." It's like you're supposed to count to 3.
Man, like if that's the match you're picking, every wrestling fan that ever watches this is going to be like, man, this guy's standards.
Okay, that's right. I just feel like that match, watching it, would be such an epic experience to watch. It just, because it was such a disaster, I'm like, this would have been so much fun to see.
So I have a funny story that relates to that question. So if I had to go back and rewatch a match live, I'd go back to one of my friend's shows when I was still in college that I went to. So the story of it is that it was an outdoor show. And the problem with outdoor wrestling shows is that if it rains, you're fucked.
Yep.
So it rained, and we all had to go inside to this bar that was there. So with the show basically over, like it was maybe like not even an hour in, and they had to think of something. So they just suddenly in the bar, which thankfully the friend of mine that put the show on, he happened to work there, so he got permission to do so. They just had a massive bar brawl in there. And it ended with them going back outside and doing a spot where they got on top of this moving van, and the guy did a splash off the van through a guy in the table. The problem with that show is that there was one camera, and the camera was positioned perfectly in the middle to catch that moment. And my dumbass, being a fan that traveled and watched it, stood right in the middle of that fucking shot, and I ruined the shot.
Oh my god, you piece of shit!
To the point that, like, not too long after, my buddy went up to me and be like, I don't like you right now. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, brutal.
Oh my god.
Brutal.
Otherwise, the correct answer is going back and watching, what match probably would it be?
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, Undertaker Mankind at fucking King of the Ring when he threw Mankind off the cell. I wish I could be there live to see how the crowd reacted to that.
Yeah,
Actually,
back then, that was good.
That would be the other match I wish I could watch.
Just to see like how because that would never been done before. That was insane to see that happen. I remember as a kid freaking the fuck out. I thought he literally got killed.
When you're falling at that height, I don't know how these guys like they're gonna be so fucked by the time they're 60. It's insane.
Well, Mick Foley has a lot of hip problems now and knee problems, so
yeah, he's not in good shape. Like in a good way, not in bad shape. Bad bones and joints that you can't fix.
I'm gonna tell one more story before we go off because I figure just because it just makes me think of this one amazing story. So there's a series on Vice called Dark Side of the Ring, which is a documentary series based on a lot of history in wrestling, most of them pretty like shady shit that's happened on. So for example, they did a couple episodes on the Benoit tragedy and they did a couple episodes on Owen Hart. Those were a couple examples. There's one episode they do of a man called New Jack, who is an ECW, like very hardcore, like known guy. He started out in the business as a member of a tag team called the Gangsters, or Gangstas, I should say, sorry, where he went into the Southern promotion and basically, as the promoter told him, just go make white people mad, and that's what he did because he was a black man. And that's what he did.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Oh, it's not a race story. I just want to give you a little bit of background on the guy. So when he goes to ECW, he turns into this hardcore legend because the guy had a really fucked up past. So he's already pretty screwed up in the head and pretty violent. So whenever you see, in general, yeah, he grew up like, for example, he told a story about how his father, when he was 5 years old, fucking his wife tried to leave him, and he shot her in the fucking back of the leg with the 5-year-old kid right in the woman's arms. So that kind of fucked up childhood. So this guy, working in a promotion where violence is pretty normal, he always wanted to one-up people, so he would do the craziest shit. And there was a guy by the name of Vic Grimes, I believe is the name, where they were supposed to do a spot where they went off a balcony through a couple of tables, and Vic just got cold feet, didn't want to do it, but he, New Jack pushed him, and they did it anyway, and Vic fell on New Jack and fucked him up hard for a period of time. And New Jack took that real personally. So I can't remember how far down the line, but there was a show for a company called, I believe, XPW, and they had a big scaffold match, which was this fucking 25-foot high scaffold with a shit ton of tables stacked in the ring. And the objective was the loser would be thrown off the scaffold. Now, normally, it's gimmicked and not real, so the guy would fall through the tables and the tables would reduce his momentum and things would be fine. New Jack, however, still held a bit of a grudge. So, he openly said to some of his friends, I'm gonna fucking tase this motherfucker. So he carries a taser to the match with him and doesn't tell the guy. And when it's time to throw the guy off, instead of, throwing him off and, giving him the proper chance to, figure himself out, he tases the guy so the guy can't feel his legs and just whips him off. The guy misses all the tables but like one and hits the ropes. Couple more inches, he falls to the floor and probably fucking dies. New Jack intended to throw him completely. He wanted to kill the motherfucker.
What the fuck?
Yo, that's fucked. Like,
the crazy part of the story, that's not even the crazy part of the story.
Yo.
The worst injury that guy suffered just from hitting the ropes, he dislocated his ankle. He was fucking lucky.
Yeah, I don't know how he didn't die.
Holy shit. Yeah.
The tables broke his fall just enough that when he hit the ropes, he more just bounced and then just kind of broke his fall. Owen Hart, when he fell, he landed dead in the ring.
Yeah, but Owen Hart, I believe, fell face first.
That too. The guy was like back, landed on like his ass more or less, but he still hit the rope. Like you watch the video, it looks fucking brutal. Like it looks like he should have broke a lot.
Yeah. Ooh.
And he got lucky. But just talking about Mankind being thrown off the cell just told me that one story. Now that'd be like a fucking really like super weird like dark story to end off of. Because fuck it, I don't like ending off happy because I'm in a shit mood.
What the fuck happened this time?
Oh man,
Cyberpunk.
That's post-podcast shit.
Post-podcast.
Okay.
I mean, there is a bunch of shit that's pissed me off that's gaming related. I can't understand the fact that people are mad that The Last of Us 2 could win a Game of the Year award. There's that. And I'm still mad at people that are pointing fingers at Sony for the scalper problem.
It's still a good fucking game, peeps.
I don't understand how people can be mad at Sony for what Walmart and Best Buy and all these other places do, but it's Sony's fault, right? It's got to be Sony's fault.
Okay, honestly,
yeah, no, it's not funny.
You want to get mad at somebody? Get mad at these asshole scalpers. So I saw one post today on Facebook Marketplace, and I was about to message the guy about it. It was a PS5 for $500.
I guarantee it was a box only.
No. I read the description. It was actually like I choked up a little. He bought it for his son, and his son loved it, but never got a chance to play with it because his son died from cancer. He was selling the PS5 so he could donate the money that he spent on it to a children's hospital.
Actually, here's the thing that he should have honestly done, and this is the thing that a lot of people should do.
Buy it off him?
No, donate your consoles to hospitals.
Yeah.
If you're just getting rid of your old console, don't sell it for $50. Go donate it to a hospital and give kids that are fucking struggling in the hospital something to do.
Yeah, no, you have a point there because.
And I'm not trying to make a point. I'm saying like, dude, like nobody thinks of it. Do that. Like if you're just getting rid of an old console, if you're not desperate for $50 or $100, donate that shit to somebody who can really use that.
So it's like that's the thing. It's like
a lot of people are just going to collect it and throw it on a shelf, and it never sees the light of day again.
The scalpers are the problem. It's not Sony. I believe it or not, it's not the big corporations.
Oh no, the retailers should have fault too. They should have put in captchas and fucking did one. I've heard about websites that did things like one per IP address, for example. I've seen that stuff.
That is fair. That is fair.
It's kind of fair, but kind of not, because if you live. Like, if you live with a bunch of people, like if you live with a bunch of roommates, then yeah, you're kind of screwed.
At the most, you'll have 3 roommates. You guys can play together.
Well, no. What I mean is, like, if all you, like, say, play Destiny together and you all need a PS5 to do it, you can't do it if you can only buy one per IP.
Grab your phone and take it off Wi-Fi? I don't know if that'll work.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But either way.
I don't
legit,
think,
if you got a spare console that you're not doing anything with, donate it to a fucking hospital, I'm telling you.
No, I know. No. It was this one was different, but it's like the assholes are like $1,500 for a PS3, PS5. Suck it, bitch! Like, guys, it's not you can get it in a few months. You can wait. There's no reason for you to just gorge your money out.
If Chris didn't have an extra console, I wouldn't have a console right now. That's the only reason I have it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of hard with the thing where you end up like. Then again, you know, me and Alex ended up with 2 extras, but it wasn't for scalping reasons. 2 of them are gifts, and the other one just happened to be that we were trying so hard to get it that we were trying on multiple sites, and 2 went through at the same time. We were like, oh wow, okay, cool. Well, I'm sure somebody will need this. And sure enough.
When it comes to buying off the scalpers, I've seen some stories where I'm like, dude, I won't accept that. I won't accept any reason for paying more than, if it was like $100, I'd be like, okay, fine. But when I see the stories of people who pay over $1,000 for it, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't care what your reason is. Like, I've seen people be like, well, I really need to get this to my kid for Christmas. I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't. If you already have a PS4, they're gonna be fine. If it's that daddy, I want it now shit, then you're a bad parent. You should be telling your kids that no, you don't need it. You want it, but you're not going to get one. It's that insistence of not being able to say no.
Yeah.
And if you're just you're a grown ass man that just like can't wait because you have no lack of patience, I'm sorry that you're still a child, I guess. Because like, I was prepared to wait till at least June. It's only because Chris said, "Hey, I got an extra one. Do you want one?" I'm like, "Well, fuck, I might as well." Not to mention, this year's been so crap that I'm like, fuck. If I have the chance to get something like this as a treat for myself, then fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Think of it as an early birthday gift.
Well, I got to assume I'm gonna make it to see my next birthday. You never fucking know. We might still be getting the giant meteor soon.
So this is the VCR podcast.
Meteor.
This episode is dedicated in the future memorial of Adam.
Why just me? The giant meteor is going to kill all of us. You guys don't live that far from me. It's not like Deep Impact where you're going to be like on a hill and you survive.
Okay. Adam, your first mistake here is assuming the live stream isn't going to stop Meteor as it comes down. Obviously, live stream's going to save us all. That's the only point, actually. That's all I have.
I will accept Giant Meteor if I at least get to fuck Cloud in the dress. I'll take that.
Okay. I feel like don't do it as Meteor's coming down because we need Aerith. And she'll be upset.
If Cloud in a dress comes to my door, I'm like, shit, the end of the world's coming. But at least I'm getting something out of it.
Yeah, I'd be really freaked out if somebody who's not real all of a sudden came to life and was at my door. I would be like, huh.
Cloud can be real. It's just the hair. If you get the
That's what I mean. Cloud can't be real. Not with that fucking hair.
And also, at Fan Expo a few times, I lifted up the Buster sword that they had, the replica one. That sword is hollow, and to hold it is actually quite difficult.
It's fiction. Shut up, Vish.
No, like they actually had a replica of it.
It's fiction, Vish. Shut up.
Chris, have you
Easy, just spin it around.
Suspense of disbelief.
Just spin it, and then you put it back.
Suspense of fucking disbelief.
I
don't even know what the fuck he's doing.
The battle song.
It's
that wasn't even right.
The song.
That wasn't even right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing the boss music
from Final Fantasy VII.
The battle music.
That's the one I'm talking about.
The battle music is that's the battle music, you fucking pleb.
No, but this one's like it's called even more fighting.
That's also wrong.
Music, yeah.
Okay, that one I like a lot more. I don't like that. Like it just sounds so like it's a hockey theme.
I feel like our Patreon podcast is literally just going to be us singing fucking like game music. It'll be a 20-minute podcast, and it'll just be me in the background.
And one day we're gonna.
And Chris is just jamming, just like
yeah.
We're gonna play the Aladdin game from either Super Nintendo or Genesis. And be like, do
Genesis.
No, I found the Super Nintendo one better.
They're both good. It doesn't matter.
That's because you're wrong. You're both wrong. Genesis only. I don't even think you had a sword in the Super Nintendo one.
You don't, but apparently you can. Yeah, from what I saw, you can do a lot more in the game in general.
Like not stab people with swords, which is the whole point.
That is true.
Are we going to end the show on arguing what Aladdin game was better?
There's no argument because it's the Genesis version.
The one on the PlayStation was literally just okay. It was a good game, but it was just okay. It was okay.
Everybody knows the best Aladdin in a video game is Kingdom Hearts. That's it. Discussion over.
That is a good level. That is. I will.
Do you get to play as Aladdin, or do you play?
He's a party member.
Sora.
He's a side character. Like he joins your team.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to play as anybody else because if you had to play Donald in that game, you would kill yourself. Both metaphorically and literally.
I've heard Donald's a little bit of a bitch in that game.
In the new game, he's not. He's actually fucking useful. That was the biggest thing about Kingdom Hearts 3. Was like Donald useful.
Duck is like, oh shit.
Whereas like every other Kingdom Hearts game before that, it was a fucking massive meme that Donald just immediately dies at every step of the way.
Yeah, he did die a lot, which is weird because he did all the healing.
Yeah, he was kind of important.
I think.
I think I might have done a lot more healing myself than Donald ever did in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, looking back, there is a lot of healing that you can also do yourself.
And that doesn't even count the Sephiroth fight, where all you do in that fight is heal because you have no time to actually attack.
Oh yeah, is he the final boss, or he's
Sephiroth? No, he is technically the final boss, is because you won't play through the game until you get to that point. That boss battle is designed to be the last thing you do because it's so fucking hard.
I heard it's brutally hard.
Oh, it's so fucking hard.
It is.
Then the second game came around, and it's not much easier.
No.
But then they made an even harder boss battle in the second game, and you're like, stop! It's a game about fighting Disney villains with Final Fantasy characters. Why does this has to be so stupid hard? They didn't even put Omega Weapon in there.
What?
Usually a hard boss in Final Fantasy games just has way too much fucking health. It's just usually a long-ass fight. Like the Taurus in Final Fantasy 15 or the Final Hunt in Final Fantasy 12 that can take you like 13 hours.
So, you know what one JRPG boss that I thought was brutally hard? The one from Leisure Dragoon that would level you back 5 levels.
I wouldn't have had that problem. I would have been fucking 15 levels above. The way that I play
Probably.
JRPGs, that would not have been a problem for me.
Probably.
I walk into final bosses being like fucking Doom guy, being like, all right, who's next?
There was also one, there was 2 versions of the Divine Dragon Leisure Dragoon. One that it was normal, and then one that it was resurrected. And the resurrected boss battle, that one was fucking brutal. Like to actually fight that thing like in that format, like it had like basically I think you could level back, you could be leveled back, and you would get the like the laser attack that the dragon gave, and it was fucking brutal. I love that game, but I thought that one battle was just fucking brutal to deal with.
More often than not, JRPGs, if you play them the way that I play them, most bosses aren't frustrating. The only time they can be frustrating for me is when they put a gimmick in there that is just really out of your way.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that'll happen where it's just like, hey, you got to use this specific thing that you never usually use. It's like, but why? But more often than not, I just power fucking through it. My goal in any JRPG game is to be so stupidly over-leveled that I just walk up to things and poke it to death. That's my goal.
Poke. You gone, motherfucker.
I mean, that's Chrono Cross in a nutshell. You play the new game plus a Chrono Cross where you get to keep all your levels. You walk up to that first boss in Chrono Cross and you literally do the weakest attack and it fucking dies. It's fucking great.
Yeah, again, I fucking hate that game.
And you're wrong.
Ooh. You're wrong.
Maybe.
Wrong.
Just like Aladdin.
He's still president, so I can kind of still do this voice of wrong.
Oh my god, whoa, we got a lot to make fun of for that next time.
Chrono Cross is actually the better Chrono game. Believe me, everybody actually voted for it. All the Chrono Trigger votes, wrong. Stop the steal.
Well, Chrono Trigger's still
You know, listen, I don't know.
Chrono Cross is still great.
Chris, there's some rating fraud in this game. You don't understand.
Yeah. If some people say Chrono Cross is actually like a 9.7 out of 10, it's wrong. It's actually a 9.8 if you really look at the data. Fuck decimals. Fuck decimals.
There is some rating. There is rating fraud going on here.
I don't know. If I remember correctly, IGN gave Chrono Cross a 10. I agree with that.
They also gave.
Where's the GameSpot? One of the two.
Great game.
The 110 I absolutely disagree with is they gave a 10 for Uncharted 3. That one did not deserve a 10.
I mean, I don't think any Uncharted game deserves a 10, but that's just me.
Even Uncharted 2, I think I would probably give a 9.5.
Uncharted 2, and it might have also been because I got overhyped on it so much from like over the years of people saying it's the greatest game on that generation. And I remember playing that game when I played the Drake collection. And I played through 2 and went, really? This is what people thought was the best game and could never be fucking matched? Really? I can think of like a million games from that same era that could have fucking beaten that.
No. I think this is a whole situation to each their own. Like,
sure,
for example,
but generally speaking, when people say it's the greatest
2.
game of a generation, my expectation is that I'll at least go with it and be like, yeah, that was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best game, but it was pretty good. I walked out of Uncharted 2 and went, really? Everybody thought that was the best game? Really? Like, it's not bad, but the best?
Okay.
I mean, it's between that and Assassin's Creed 2 for me from that generation.
Yeah, at least I got to fight the Pope in Assassin's Creed 2.
True.
Like, how can you not hate it? You get to fucking fist fight the Pope. What's not to love?
Yeah, punching.
That could have been the whole game.
Fun.
Just every fight has to be you beating up the Pope. I'm like, sure.
From what I hear, Pope Francis is actually a very nice guy.
Well, to the point that like,
but not in the 1500s.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. Yeah. Anyways, these asides need to fucking stop. So, long story short, we want the new 007 game to be really good. Okay.
Yes, please make it good, make it M-rated, and make it unique, and violent.
Make James Bond
video
games
make it unique?
Great again.
You know what it needs to be unique? A 1500s Pope thrown in as the main villain.
Yes. 1500s James Bond.
You know what I think it needs to be unique? New York. Unique New York. Unique New York. Wow. And Adam's gonna cut me off.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego. So, Anchorman referencing aside, this has been the VCR Podcast, episode 52. I don't know how the fuck you're still here after 2.5 hours. So, if you somehow managed to watch this whole episode or listen to this whole episode, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do. I'm going to tell you, don't actually go out and share this with all your friends. Don't give us a rating unless it's a 1-star rating, because we don't deserve it on this show. But if you do watch it on YouTube, at least subscribe to my channel. I don't care if you like or dislike the video. Just subscribe to my channel. I still got good shit on here. That's just not the show. And that's youtube.com/csradical. If you want to watch the live streams of this as well, it's twitch.tv/csradical. Otherwise, yeah, thank you so much for watching this episode of the podcast, which it was a little more tangent-y, but then again, that's because there wasn't really much in the terms of news, so it is what it is at that point.
There was nothing.
Hopefully.
There was nothing.
Hopefully. Something. Because there's some rumors going around that Sony might be talking about what's going on with PlayStation or PlayStation Now soon. There's that rumor.
Oh, yes, true.
I mean, otherwise, God only knows.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting into December. It's either going to be like a flood of shit or it's going to be fucking dead. Like, it's probably going to be more dead than flooded. So,
I think
at least
it's going to be pretty dead because of current
we have
situations.
at least one podcast for games of the year, or like our favorite shit from the year. So at least that's one podcast already written. We're good. We're good. After that, this is going to be interesting. But otherwise, we will figure it out as we go. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Spoken.
So thank you so much for checking out this episode of the VCR Podcast. Except for Vish. Vish can go fuck himself, as per usual. And we will see you on the next one. Take it easy.